Block News, I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? FIVEaa Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
The COVID vaccination hub at Wayville is shutting up shop today as preparations ramp up for the Royal Show. Since opening in April last year, more than 500,000 jabs have been administered on site. It will be replaced by a new clinic at the Myer Centre in the mall, which opens tomorrow. Health Minister Chris Picton is encouraging over 30s who are now eligible to get a fourth dose to do so.
There is huge availability, and you can log on to covidvaccine.sa.gov.au to access all of your booking options, including pharmacies and GP clinics that have bookings available right near you. We know how important this is in terms of making sure that people keep up their immunity.
Rental prices in Adelaide continue to rise, with new figures showing they've reached record highs. Domain's quarterly report shows weekly median rents for houses are up 4.3% to $480 per week. Units are up by 2.7% to $380. Domain's Dr Nicola Powell says there's little relief in sight.
What we're expecting is rents will continue to rise because the vacancy rate does remain very low. It's still stubbornly close to the recent record low of vacancy rate. So it does indicate that it's still a very tight rental market. It's very much a landlord's market, and there are lots of grounds for landlords to continue to increase those rents.
The father of a former choir boy is launching a bid to sue George Pell and the Catholic Church. In 2018, Cardinal Pell was found guilty of abusing two then teenage choir boys in the 1990s. However, the conviction was quashed by the High Court and the Cardinal was released from prison. The field is narrowing in the race to become the next British Prime Minister. Carrie-Anne Greenbank reports from the UK.
The door to number 10 Downing Street is yet to close behind Boris Johnson, but the race to replace him as Prime Minister is well underway. 8 contenders whittled down to 6 in the first ballot of Tory MPs. Chancellor Nadhim Zahawi and Jeremy Hunt knocked out. Rishi Sunak remains the front-runner with 88 votes, well ahead of the others. And Foreign Secretary Liz Truss currently has 50 votes as we head into another ballot tomorrow.
Inflation in the United States has hit a 4-decade high, driven by the surging cost of petrol, food and rent. Alison Petrowski reports.
Consumer inflation soaring 9.1% in the 12 months ending in June, the highest increase since November 1981, driven by a jump in petrol prices, up nearly 60% over the year. President Biden says the figure is unacceptably high, but also out of date, not reflecting the full impact of 30 days of decreases at the pump. It's likely historic action will be taken to combat inflation, economists expecting the US central bank to raise rates by a full percentage point later this month.
The US president says the connection between his country and Israel is bone deep. Joe Biden has kicked off his first presidential tour of the Middle East with a visit to Tel Aviv. He says the relationship is deeper and stronger than it's ever been.
Every chance to return to this great country, where the ancient roots of the Jewish people date back to biblical times, is a blessing, because the connection between the Israeli people and the American people is bone deep.
And it's Bastille Day. We may be 16,000 kilometres away, but Adelaideans can still celebrate France's National Day. 3 days of French culture kicks off at the Central Market today. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And his bonjour to Tom Wren.
And a comment t'appelles-tu? What does that mean? What is your name? What is your name?
Voulez-vous coucher avec... We better stop that.
We better stop and start speaking English. Let's go to the state of origin. And Queensland has produced a performance for the ages to take out the Origin series. The Maroons were winning Game 3 last night, 22 points to 12 at Suncorp Stadium, handing coach Billy Slater a series win in his first campaign as Queensland coach. Now, the Maroons lost 2 players to COVID in the build-up to the game and lost Selwyn Cobbo and Lindsay Collins in the opening minutes to head knocks and sealed the win with a 70-metre try thanks to Ben Hunt. And Slater says he's proud of his team's performance.
I don't know if I felt any more proud other than my children being born than I do right now. And what an effort that was. That was an incredible game.
To the AFL on its selection night for the Crows and Port Adelaide ahead of their round 18 matches on the weekend. The Power will name only a squad for their clash against Melbourne, which is on Sunday, while the Crows look set to drop Matt Crouch again for Saturday's clash against Collingwood at home. Meantime, Hawthorn great Jordan Lewis says he's shocked by reports his ex-teammate Lance Franklin could be playing at a third club next season. Sydney has reportedly lowballed the superstar forward. Lewis telling Fox Sports the 35-year-old is still worth big money, but there's a few clubs who'd be interested.
The obvious ones for me, who we speak about, and they're crying out for not only a key position player, but a very good key position player, are Collingwood and Fremantle, the teams that I would consider to be good, solid finals teams.
And in some golf to finish, 11 Australians will tee off at the 150th edition of the British Open. Cameron Smith touted as the country's best chance. And that's the 5AA sport.
Merci, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast. Partly cloudy, 15 today. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 15. And 15 again on Saturday with showers developing. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday on 5AA Breakfast. Big programs are Thursdays, and we're looking forward to it today. Matt Abraham after 7:30, live in the studio to dissect the last week of political spin. We'll be chatting with the dude, Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club as well. Big game against Collingwood on Saturday at the Adelaide Oval. Well, lots to chat with him about. Looking forward to that conversation as well. He's always good value, the dude, after 8 o'clock today. And then after 6:30, so in about half an hour time, Vincent McAviney will be our man in London. He can talk to us about a couple of things. The heat wave that's currently hitting the UK with the threat of the hottest day ever on Sunday in England, but also the leadership contest to replace Boris Johnson. It might be easier just talking through the people who aren't putting their hands up. It's the biggest field I've ever seen. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Yeah, the last article I read, which was, I think, didn't read anything about it yesterday, but I saw a panel of candidates, and it looked like the Brady Bunch. There were 8 headshots. Yep. And has it increased since then?
Well, they've got to the... I don't know how they get their information, but watching the coverage, they'll say, the fifth person, Johnny Hoopshanks, has 7 votes right now.
Is that really his name?
No, I made that up. But they'll go through, and they seem to know intimately who's got how many votes everyone's got, and some of the numbers are just... They're tiny. He's on 4. Well, why is he bothering?
Like the Monty Python election night sketch. Kevin Phillips Bong. He polled no votes. None.
At least in Australia, we kind of weed them out by the time it gets down to the point that people are publicly talking about it.
I like the idea that politics can provide that level of humiliation.
Yeah, well, they're all subjecting themselves to it.
Even more entertaining.
I saw one of the tone of the discourse though in the UK is much rougher than it is here. There was a question to one of the candidates for the leadership that contained this preamble that was totally irrelevant to the question. Now, I saw it this morning in the press conference. It went something like this. Ma'am, you're described as nothing more than Theresa May with big hair. What's your position on the unemployment crisis? It was something. It was like, why did we need the first part of that?
I hate that kind of stuff. It's one of the reasons why I've never done any TV, because I don't like, and we saw it a lot during the last election campaign, where a lot of the TV journos jockeying so hard to get in with the gotcha questions and so on. They want the theatre of it all.
Oh yeah, it's performance art.
I suppose that's, I'm not having a knock on them, because that's what makes TV compelling in that sense when it comes to political coverage, but I just wouldn't have the front to do it. It's a bit like that guy yesterday in St Peters who got up as for not being rude enough to the Lord Mayor. And I sort of thought, well, we're not... I mean, there have been times on the show where we have really blown up big time, quite notoriously, at a couple of people. But as a general rule, this is Adelaide. It's a pretty civil, polite place. It's a smallish city where you bump into people, and you don't have to act like Alan Jones every time someone comes on the show, do you?
I just find so much of it ends up being self-serving and performative. Like, here we go.
The older I get, the less I care. Too.
Yeah.
I just think, oh God, do we really have to go through this charade, this nonsense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I should go and become a landscape gardener instead. Well, maybe I'm losing my nerve.
Saturday mornings, look out Michael Keelan.
Oh, there's the job.
You can do a tough interview with
7 years ago, I thought, well, at least I'm in the building. Work from within. I'm more interested in the weather story out of the UK. I know as Australians, we're quick to tease the Poms when they start, panicking and running to fold their hankies into hats as a matter of urgency when it rockets above 25 degrees centigrade. But 40 degrees in England, that's an extraordinary story. If it gets to that high, people will be dropping dead. Like it's a very serious health story.
Because what we were talking about in the context of minus 20 and minus 30 degree days in Australian houses, and we don't have the culture of wearing the right clothes and whatnot. The reverse is all true. How good's the average air conditioning in Birmingham?
Yeah.
Or airflow? How much of a house has been designed so you can maximise cool air coming through? It'd be designed to be the exact opposite, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So whatever heat there is outside,
zero air.
The whole thing's been designed to maximise heat retention. So it'd be an absolute no. It is a serious story. That's why they've issued their equivalent of their extreme weather warnings and things like that, the highest level of warning, because they're expecting that. The video I've watched a few times this morning that I can't stop watching because it looks like something out of some sort of American blockbuster alien style film. Do you see the squadron of B-2 stealth bombers turning up in Queensland?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
They flew from the United States to Queensland, and they flew over Brisbane. Like they wanted to be photographed. There's videos on YouTube of who in their backyard sort of going, hey, look at that.
Why do you think they wanted to be photographed?
Because they wanted China to know. They just flew them halfway around the world, and here they are, and they've got range to go wherever the hell they need to go. So, smarten up.
Yeah, that's right.
That's all. That's what
We're
it
paying
is.
attention.
That's what it is.
The video is amazing, though.
Oh, it looks extraordinary because they genuinely look like something out of the future.
Yeah,
they look like spacecraft. But I did find the whole talking of being performative, the idea of them flying over Brisbane, sneaking them into the country.
I'll tell you what, we'll get to it later when we catch up with Tom Wren. But anyone who watched last night's State of Origin, my God, I had an argument with my wife about it because I was out. I didn't see the whole game live, but when I got home early so I could watch an extended highlights thing, and she was shaking her head, going, "Can you honestly defend this as a sport? It's just guys bashing each other." And I said, "Well, you might say that. I think it's just one of the most exciting fixtures on the annual sporting calendar. It was absolutely extraordinary." But these guys go out there, and I think. If you didn't know that it was 2022, watching that game of football last night, you'd be forgiven for thinking it was 1977.
They have made changes to laws, though, haven't
they? The old
they?
slogan, "Bring back the biff," was alive and well.
The punch-on was pretty spectacular. But they've made changes in league, haven't they? You can't do the things you used to be able to do to the head.
Yeah.
They've gentrified
and there was a huge outcry
bit.
about 10 years ago where the Blues captain, Paul Gallen, punched one of the Queenslanders, a bloke called Nate Miles, who was built like a sort of double-doored refrigerator. Gallen punched him square in the face at the start of a match, apropos of nothing. Just walked up and punched him in the face, and as hard as you can, like a boxer. In fact,
Wow.
Gallen is now a boxer.
Yeah, he is now a boxer.
But and this Nate Miles bloke sort of looked at him like, "What'd you do that for?" And then he's a bit like a brontosaurus. He's got an extra brain in his foot because when the message made it all the way up through his synapses that this guy's just punched me square in the face. About 5 seconds later, he went, "Right, it's on." And then he sort of very belatedly punched Paul Gallen back. But, it is. There's a genuine debate to be had about male behaviour and the way kids act, and I get all of that. And that was the thing that after the Gallen punch 10 years ago in the Origin match back then, it did prompt a lot of discussion about how the sport needs to change. And I reckon the same conversation will happen now, particularly in the eastern states, after last night, because it was an incredible game of football, but it had a lot of 1970s flourishes to it as well.
I always do find the contrast really interesting that, the level of discussion we have in certainly the AFL about protecting the head and sacrosanct. And then, boxing still exists as a sport.
Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
I struggle to pass that because you say, oh, well, there's the threat of litigation coming to the AFL if you like the NFL faced, if they don't crack down on concussions. I watch big fights, but I marvel at how they can still happen.
Yeah. Or even, I think even worse, how something like MMA can exist.
Yes.
That's just crazy stuff. Putting blokes in an octagon and letting them kick, knee and gouge each other. It's like cage, it is cage fighting.
Quite literally. 15 after 6, we've got some news headlines for you coming up in just a moment.
Hi, honey.
Hey, Mum. I'm just waiting at the emergency department.
Are you okay? What happened?
I twisted my ankle at training.
And you're at the ED.
Where else would I go?
Try icing it, love. Or I could take you to the GP or a pharmacy.
That's gone all over you. Let me wipe it up.
All good. Yeah. Mum, come and get me.
Is it really an emergency? Before visiting an emergency department or calling 000, call Health Direct on 1800 022 222 to find the best healthcare option for you. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Look, we get it. Nobody likes to wait, especially for a new car. That's why Wavell and Southern Mitsubishi would like to give you something cool to do in the meantime, like giving you a $50 gift voucher. Spend it any way you like while waiting for your new car to arrive. Take a test drive today for your $50 gift voucher. T's and C's apply. Only at Wavell and Southern Mitsubishi, driven by Australian Motors.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. Schools, councils and businesses all over South Australia choose Leader Computers for very important reasons. Leader is local and exceptional value. No matter what happens, Leader can be on site to fix your problem. No overseas or interstate call centres to deal with. Plus, Leader Computers is a 100% owned and operated South Australian company, offering fast same-day delivery and setup. That's why so many organisations rely on Leader. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
I can hear on a boat. I can hear in the shower. I can even hear when I swim.
Some of that's down to Audeo Life, the world's first waterproof rechargeable hearing aids. Call Connect Hearing now for your free 10-day trial on 1300 520 804.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
17 after 6. Let's get into the news headlines on this Thursday, the 14th of July. The state's largest COVID vaccination clinic will close its doors this afternoon to make way for the Royal Show. Wavell will be replaced by a new hub at the Myer Centre, which opens tomorrow. Wavell was great. Can we pour one out for Wavell?
Let's hear it for Wavell.
The people who worked there, the way that was organised, that was
I thought the staff were excellent.
Sensational.
I went there twice for the AstraZenecas.
Yep.
Being in the older person bracket. And the woman that I had my jab from, she was superb. She had spent a lot of time working in the APY lands, and we were talking about that. We just ended up having this really good rambling conversation. I got a phone number too.
Oh, look at you go.
You've still got it. No, not for any nefarious reason.
Okay. No, of course not.
No, we were talking about the Gail Woodford case because she knew Gail Woodford. And it was one of those sort of weird, what do you do? I'm a journo, blah, blah, blah. Oh, right, okay, yeah. And just went off on this tangent. We worked out we were both into that horrible, horrible story.
I like this tidbit. Modelling suggests daily case numbers will hit a peak of 6,000 next Tuesday. We need to repurpose the word peak, don't we? Peak has lost its meaning because we can't
what does that even mean anymore? Like
we've had about 8 peaks.
Is that a good story or a bad story? Because I would have thought, well, hang on, if it peaks next Tuesday, then that means on Wednesday it's getting better.
Yeah, I think that's how I read it. But I just reckon we've had a few peaks by now, haven't we?
I think what we actually need is a chart showing how many peaks there's been.
Yeah.
When are we going to reach peak?
Well, this is the question that's befuddling the health gurus at the moment, isn't it? Medical bodies are urging the federal government to reconsider its decision to scrap a series of COVID-19 measures in a bid to save money. The pandemic leave payment is being scrapped. About 70 telehealth items will be dumped and pensioners will no longer be able to access free rat kits. The Australian Medical Association says the decisions are short-sighted and will only lead to greater illness in the community. There's no sign of relief for renters in Adelaide. New figures from Domain show house rentals have increased by 4.3% in the last quarter to a new record high of $480 per week. Units also increased by 2.7% to $380 a week. Domain's Dr. Nicola Powell says a number of factors are at play.
An escalation of purchasing prices, and what that has done is locked people in the rental market for longer. We may even be seeing some landlords passing on the additional home loan costs. But I think particularly for Adelaide, what we've seen is a steady stream of interstate movers and returning expats into South Australia.
I struggle with the fact that people are affluent enough to own an investment property can just sort of put the rent up willy-nilly. Like if you're being hit by increased repayments, but you're in a position where you're lucky enough to have your own home that's worth 800 grand, 600 grand or whatever, or 1.5 million, 2 million perhaps, and you've got one or two investment properties, and the moment the banks put up interest rates, you go, right, I'm going to jack up the rent.
I can't afford this.
Yeah. What about the person who's renting your house who can't afford to buy even their own principal place of residence?
They're caught in it's an awful pincer movement at the moment if you're a renter, because certainly in Adelaide, property prices haven't exactly started coming off in a big way yet because of interest rate rises. But the interest rate rises, according to Dr. Nicola Powell, leading people who own rental properties to jack up the rent. So you're no more able to get out into the market.
Yeah.
But you just have to sit there and cop a rent rate rise. So it's the worst of both worlds for renters at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's really bad.
Queensland researchers have discovered a significantly more effective weapon in the fight against blood cancers, such as leukemia and myeloma. It's a new type of immunotherapy that acts like a missile control system by alerting and guiding the body's own T cells to attack and eliminate blood cancer cells. According to the Leukemia Foundation, blood cancers are the second most diagnosed cancers in the country. US President Joe Biden has vowed to deepen connections between Israel and the US on a trip to Tel Aviv. It's the start of his first Middle East tour since becoming president. Mr. Biden says the two countries have long-standing ties.
We're going to deepen our connections in science and innovation and work to address global challenges through the new strategic high-level dialogue on technology.
8.6 degrees outside in Adelaide at the moment, top of 15 on the way today. It'll be pretty dry with light winds. Exactly the same as it will be tomorrow. Then the rain comes in on Saturday, top of 15 again and up to 6 mils of rain. It's going to be a wet weekend. Sunday, up to 8 mils of rain and a top of 15. The rain dissipates Monday, just 1 mil. Little drizzle around 15 again on Tuesday and dry. Wednesday, the pick of the days, 17 and pretty clear.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that should be, that's right, beach day.
Yeah.
Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year cap price servicing in Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth. Morning to you, ready?
Morning, Will. Morning, David. We'll get to the golf because that starts a little bit later today, 11 Aussies in action. But first I want to talk about one of the most breathtaking matches, and I know you're not a massive fan, Will, but the State of Origin last night was just phenomenal.
It was unbelievable,
and
wasn't it? Just something else.
I think this moment in the 78th, 79th minute will go down as one of the most iconic moments in Origin history. And it was very late on, a match with Queensland. It was 16-12, New South Wales pushing
the intercept
for the try, and then Ben Hunt comes up with what was a spectacular intercept try.
Ben Hunt wins the Origin for Queensland. What a moment in Origin history.
Yeah, it was. It was just iconic, running the length of the field. And,
the two best things about that are his presence of mind, the way when he intercepts it, it bounces off his chest and he grabs it straight away like a kid holding a teddy bear, and then he looks up. But the second most compelling thing about that is the sound of the crowd. That is such a great moment in the relevance and role that crowds play in sport. Because they are I'm a Blues supporter, and I was barracking madly for them last night to no avail. But the passion that Queensland have, and it's sort of almost wrong as a South Australian not to barrack for Queensland, because in an Aussie rule sense, Queensland is what South Australia is to Victoria. For years, Queensland was the little brother of rugby league. All the sides were in Sydney and so on, and they pinched all the best players the way it happened to us in the 70s with Sandful. So, it means more to Queensland.
And they played like it. I mean, they had players go down with COVID, players knocked out at the start of the game. There was a huge fight, the Barney in the game. They had no right to win that match, and they did. It was amazing. It had everything, that match. It really did. So well done to Queensland, 2-1 series victory. And New South Wales, they'd be pretty flat about that. British Open starts today. It's at 3:30 our time. This is the best golf event, I think, for the year. It's just steeped in so much history. 150th year this year. 11 Australians are there. They show the very first group teeing off. It's Paul Lawrie, who won in 1999. When John Vanderbilt had that famous meltdown with a triple bogey on the last hole. He was in the lake and was going to try and hit the ball. triple bogey, and there was a little...
Did he just lose his mind?
It lost his mind. The ball was submerged in water that deep, about a foot, and he took his pants off and he went in to go and hit the ball. He actually lost his mind. And he had to be... And the commentary was just beautiful. He said, "Somebody get that man out of there now." He goes, and anyway, he sank a 12-foot putt to force it to a playoff, but then lost the playoff to Paul Lawrie, who's going to be in the first group today with Minwoo Lee, who's the brother of Minjee Lee. So that's a big opportunity for him. Anyway, my tips for the Open, Will, for what it's worth, Matt Fitzpatrick, who won the US Open, he's playing at a different level at the moment. Jordan Spieth, I think, is primed for this, and I think Cam Smith will go very, very close. So an Australian will go close. My outsiders, if you want 100 to 1 or something, these guys I think can give it a shake if they bring their best. Thomas Pieters, who I've got a soft spot for, and a South African called Christian Bezuidenhout, who's got a great story. He was poisoned by... he ate some rat poison when he was 2 years old, has got a huge speech impediment. And
what, from the rat poison?
From the rat poison when he was 2 years old, still really struggles. And he played golf because he used to get bullied as a means of expressing himself. It's a really good story. Christian Bezuidenhout, and a hell of a player too.
Now, you gave me an idea before, Tom, with your excellent impersonation of that commentator. We should do what's your favourite moment in commentary at some point?
Definitely.
As a segment.
Yeah.
If you cast your minds back. For some weird tangential reason, my mind just went to Whispering Ted Lowe, the commentator on Pot Black, the snooker program from the 1970s, where one day, I think it was Hurricane Higgins, wild snooker player who always lost his rag, drank too much. He missed an easy pot and he goes, hits his fist on the table, and Ted Lowe goes, "Temper, temper."
Yeah, those British commentators generally are the best.
I love them. They're so understated.
They are so understated, but, it says everything, doesn't it?
Temper, temper.
Bruce McAvaney, I mean, maybe his Kathy Freeman call off the top of my head was pretty good.
Yeah.
He's had a lot, though.
Simon Hill, Tim Cale.
Simon Hill, Tim Cale, pretty good.
Rennie, magnificent work. I was just
Tom.
busy writing down your tips.
Yes.
I'll be watching them very, very closely.
And abusing me 2 hours in.
Yeah,
Rennie doesn't know what they're...
Rennie?
None of these blokes are going to make the cut.
I'll just be sending you the bill, Rennie. That's all. 10-year warranty and 10-year cap
I wonder
price
what you were
servicing.
doing over there.
Agostino, Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth. I listen when Rennie speaks. It pays to listen.
G'day, Tom Wren here. Greyhounds love to run, and Greyhound fans love Thursday nights at Angle Park. For top greyhound racing, a great family atmosphere and the amazing food, Chase's Restaurant is offering a full a la carte menu to ensure you have a fantastic night out. Chips, wedges, through to classics like burgers, fish and chips, schnitties and steaks. Yum! Grab the whole family and get to the park to watch those dogs go. Every Thursday night at Angle Park Greyhounds.
Patience pays off, especially if you've been holding out for a great deal on a new Volkswagen. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is now receiving truckloads of new Volkswagens. Yes, they're coming. And they're available at amazing prices. Remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Now, are you one of those people who lie awake at night worrying? Wouldn't it be great to calm your anxious thoughts and just drift away peacefully into a blissful sleep? Well, Caruso's Mind Ease could be just the tonic.
Yes, Caruso's Mind Ease is a once-a-day capsule that contains lavender oil to help relieve the symptoms of mild anxiety, restlessness and excess nervous energy, promoting a deep sleep and supporting refreshing sleep in adults.
So if you'd like to worry less and sleep more, try Caruso's Mind Ease today. Caruso's Mind Ease is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If symptoms persist, see your health professional.
Concrete. It's not always dull and grey. At Outback Sleepers, our concrete is stylish and inspiring. Outback Sleepers come in a variety of colours and patterns, from plain through to sandstone, rock and slate textures. And they're all designed to last for generations by a company that only manufactures concrete sleepers. If your builder is not using Outback Sleepers, you need to be asking why not. Trust the brand Outback Sleepers, sold at over 60 local landscaping and hardware stockists. outbacksleepers.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. FIVEaOextra.com.
With the Royal Show returning this year, the state's largest COVID vaccination clinic is closing its doors this afternoon. The Wayville Clinic is being replaced by a new hub in the Maya Centre in the city. South Australians are being encouraged to keep rolling up their sleeves, whether it be for a third or fourth dose of a COVID vaccine. We recorded just over 4,400 COVID infections yesterday and 2 more deaths. Modelling suggests daily case numbers will peak at 6,000 early next week. South Australians are being warned meat and dairy prices will skyrocket if foot and mouth disease arrives from Indonesia. Canberra is being urged to tighten the airport screening of passengers entering the country from Bali. Chair of SA Primary Producers, Professor Simon Maddox, wants people to be careful.
Make sure if you're coming back from holidays or if you've got friends on holidays, reach out and make sure that they're aware that we don't want them to bring any dirty shoes back. It's far better to leave your holiday shoes behind and buy something new when you get back into Australia, if that's possible.
Retailers are asking the Reserve Bank to wait to see the impact of back-to-back interest rate rises before moving again. The RBA is looking to increase the cash rate to help rein in inflation. The National Retail Association's Dominique Lamb says it's time to hit pause.
Really what we need the RBA to do is wait and watch and see what the impact of these rate rises are having on consumers, because we know certainly those discretionary spending habits are now dropping, and of course that's having a negative impact on our retailers.
Australian children are spending as little as 15 minutes a week being taught how to write. A new study shows some teachers place more emphasis on spelling rather than writing skills. The cruise ship sailing with a COVID outbreak on board is due to arrive in Brisbane this morning. Clinton Maynard reports.
The Coral Princess sailed through Sydney Heads last night with passengers on board who weren't allowed to disembark in the harbour city because they tested positive to COVID. They remain isolated on the ship, along with more than 100 positive crew. Carnival Cruises insist the protocols developed with New South Wales Health worked, but passengers didn't have their rapid tests checked when they disembarked in Sydney, but were required to be negative. Essentially, an honesty system was in operation, but Carnival says some were asked. The ship is due to dock in Brisbane this morning.
A humanitarian visa program for displaced Ukrainians will be extended until at least the end of the month. Australia has been offering temporary visas since late February. Close to 9,000 have been granted so far. The US President has reaffirmed his support for a two-state solution for Israelis and Palestinians. Joe Biden has visited Tel Aviv at the start of his first Middle East tour as president. He'll hold high-level talks with officials.
We'll discuss my continued support, even though I know it's not in the near term, a two-state solution. That remains, in my view, the best way to ensure the future of equal measure of freedom, prosperity, and democracy for Israelis and Palestinians alike.
And Tom Cruise is now the king of the world because Top Gun Maverick has passed Titanic to become Paramount's highest-grossing movie ever at the US box office. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Scott Lyssett's disrupted season has taken another hit. The Port Ruck says he'll need to have a clean-out on his troublesome shoulder after hurting it again on his return to the Sandful last weekend.
At the moment, there's not an infection in there, but I'll need a clean out, so go in and get that done tomorrow.
Audio thanks to Channel 9. It means the 29-year-old will miss Sunday's clash against Melbourne in Alice Springs. The Power will announce a squad today to take on Melbourne a little bit later, while the Crows will also name their side to take on Collingwood a little bit later tonight, that match being played on Saturday. Well, Queensland has claimed the State of Origin series 2-1 thanks to a brilliant 22-12-point win against New South Wales in Game 3 at Suncorp Stadium. Hooker Ben Hunt scored the match-winning try, running close to the length of the field, and he says it's a moment he'll remember forever.
Oh, mate, it doesn't get any better. Streaking away down the straight in front of all the Queensland fans, it's what dreams are made of, mate.
Audio there thanks to Channel 9. Pat Carrigan was named the Wally Lewis medalist for Player of the Series. Daniel Ricciardo is reiterating his commitment to McLaren and has shot down rumours he's considering walking away from Formula One. And the British Open will get underway this afternoon our time with 11 Aussies set to be in action. Cameron Smith considered the best chance and one of the pre-tournament favourites, while Minwoo Lee will tee off in the very first group with former winner Paul Lawrie and American Webb Simpson. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, 15 and partly cloudy today, partly cloudy tomorrow 15, and then Saturday showers developing also 15. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
25 minutes to 7. A few texts coming through on the Automasters text line this morning, 048008 1395.
One here from Lisa in Happy Valley, who had a terrific time last night. Kind of. She says, morning, gents. A friend and I went to the Festival Theatre to see Frozen last night. What an amazing production. As it's winter, we chose to park at the new Festival Centre car park. It was a big mistake. It took 1 hour to get into a lift. There were only 2 available. We got to the car and tried to exit the car park, but we sat gridlocked for so long it was ridiculous. Many carloads had children with them because Frozen is a children's show after all. So who knows what time they made it home. Very poor signage for payment. Too few exits. The staff manning the gate said everybody was complaining. I'll never use that car park again. And a lot of people saying just how much money was spent upgrading the new car park. I haven't actually been in there yet. Thanks to Lisa from Happy Valley for that. I've seen the outside of it looks absolutely terrific.
Looks spectacular.
But I think that car park seems to be cursed. It's always been a bit of a shambles getting in and out.
Maybe it's there's not a whole lot of space to work with, I guess. There's nothing that drives me more nuts than bad signage. That's totally avoidable.
Like maybe they need a bigger sign in Melbourne, Will, telling you about to pay $255.
Don't get me started. Car parks are on my.
What about me complaining about paying $79 in Sydney? You paid $255.
$255 for a car park.
I'm halfway through writing my column for tomorrow about how leaving Adelaide for the first time in 2.5 years is a really, really good reminder as to how good Adelaide is. There's that old saying, there's 2 types of people who complain about Adelaide, those who've never been and those who've never left. And you hear people sometimes here a bit sort of closed-minded and say, oh, the traffic's so bad and roadworks this and roadworks that. And all of that's true, but try driving 4 kilometres in Sydney at any time of the day and see how long it takes you. Adelaide at its worst is a good day in Sydney.
Yep.
And that's just one example, like traffic alone. But house prices, food prices, car park prices, the safety, public safety, parts of town that you would or wouldn't go to. Like it's a big, expensive world city. And here we are a big country town still. But this is the thing. We need a big conversation in Adelaide about.
I don't think we are a big country town. I think we're a city that's the right size. Well, I think the cities on the eastern seaboard now are mega cities. They're not normal now.
No, Sydney's not.
They're New
Melbourne's
York,
not.
Singapore, Hong Kong style cities in feel.
Absolutely.
So,
but this is the debate now in Adelaide. How do we keep our Goldilocks status?
We build a wall.
The Great Wall.
Happy Bastille Day, says Con on the Automasters text. So I'm going to be speaking with the Central Market. They've got all sorts of stuff on for Bastille Day. So we'll be talking to them after 7 o'clock today. But also, we're going to be doing the show from the Adelaide Central Markets tomorrow morning. Very much looking forward to that.
I love doing market shows.
Yeah, it's always good fun. We have a Monado Safari Park family pass to give away right now. Visit giraffes, lions, rhinos and more, monadosafari.com.au. Call in on 8223 0055 and tell us which animal makes this sound. That sounds like a bloke just groaning. That sounds like me when I bend over and my back's a bit stiff.
Is it really an animal?
I'll do it. I'll do it. A demonstration for you.
Sam's made it up.
I'm not sure that's a real animal. Is it? Apparently it is. 8223 0055. Do we vet these noises?
I reckon whatever animal it is, it's wearing a pair of Grosby slippers and a tartan dressing gown.
I think it's in pain. Does someone need to check on this animal? Joe,
that's a made-up animal.
Joe in Seaton, good morning. What animal do you think that is?
I reckon it might be a hippo.
It's not a hippo, Joe. Sorry. 8223 0055. Mary,
this could take some time.
Mary, it's not that. It's fairly mainstream. Mary, good morning.
Hello there. I think it's a ram. R-O-M.
Not a ram, sorry, Mary. 82230055. Trevor in Port Noarlunga South. What animal do you think it is?
A frog.
A fog.
A frog.
A frog. I thought you meant Darcy Fogarty. I thought that's very unkind. Trevor, no.
Bad
it's
luck, Trev.
neither a frog nor Darcy Fogarty. Here it is again. More chances for you to win the family pass if you call in right now at 82230055. It's bigger than it sounds, this animal. 82230055.
How big?
Pretty big. Paul in Port Noarlunga, good morning.
G'day there, howdy. I missed out the other day. What was it yesterday? Anyway, my guess today is giraffe.
You didn't miss out today, Paul.
Is that what giraffes sound like?
Well, it's giraffe with a lower back complaint. Anyway, that's what they sound like. They never have a lot to say, giraffes, do they?
You wouldn't want to have a back complaint being a giraffe.
No, you wouldn't. Your neck's out. Oh.
Cost you a lot in physio, wouldn't it?
A lot of work for the masseuse.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Paul. He's won a family pass to Monado Safari Park, the perfect school holiday destination. You can visit groaning giraffes, lions, rhinos and more. MonadoSafari.com.au.
Bobby texted in on the Automaster sex line saying that's not an animal, it's Dave when his morning alarm goes off. Thank you for that, Bobby.
I think that might be right.
And Jared says, I don't think it's an animal, it has a more familiar sound to it, like a bloke hung over on the couch. Getting a lot of people texting about the festival's at a car park. I'll tell you what, Lisa's hit a hornet's nest there. Not much love for that car park.
No. Marie and Kim, people saying it's horrible.
People are saying, one here, Marie says, thankfully I'm fit enough and I'm not elderly, but I'd say that car park is shocking. You have to park strategically if possible and run back to your car as fast as possible to avoid the queue to get out. There you go. Tips for the wise.
It's not working well. 18 to 7, we've got police and weather in just a moment. And then before 7 o'clock, Michael Smith will join us with his magnificent flashback segment. This one's really intriguing today, but the history of news reading in South Australia, that's coming up. But first, let's check traffic. There's still time. Join Samari's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samaribright.org.au.
Good morning, boys. Checking traffic today at Brighton. Look out for speeds reduced. They're down to 40 at the moment. That's due to an earlier burst water main, Brighton Road near the Foodland. In the city, asphalt works on East Terrace and Grenfell Street continue. That's at the Oban exit ramp. Yankalilla, you'll find a burst water main there today too. Main South Road near Fitzgerald Road. It's down to one lane both directions. Speeds reduced. And we're getting busy South Road as you're driving through Edwardstown. Keep an eye for a camera too. Barramundi Drive at Hallett Cove. Shop using the Coles app for an easy and convenient experience. You can even use it to find products when you're shopping at your local store. Download the Coles app today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The Adelaide Central Market is open and it's not going anywhere. You might notice some changes as the exciting new market expansion gets underway. But don't worry, your favourite traders, your weekly fruit and veg, your fresh seafood and morning coffees aren't going anywhere. It might be expanding, but the market you know and love is open throughout all stages of construction with easy undercover parking. Shop at the Adelaide Central Market. Trading as always, Tuesday to Saturday.
Patience pays off, especially if you've been holding out for a great deal on a new Volkswagen. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is now receiving truckloads of new Volkswagens. Yes, they're coming, and they're available at amazing prices. Remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Connect Hearing is the largest Australian provider of Lyric, the completely invisible hearing solution with fit and forget convenience that stays in your ear 24/7. Book your free 30-day Lyric trial now on 1300 520 804. T's and C's apply.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
$16 to 7. It's going to be some wet sort of a weekend in our near future. Mark Anilak, senior forecaster at the Bureau, has all the details for us. Morning to you, Mark.
Good morning, but before we get to that, we've got a nice day on the way today. Heading for a partly cloudy top of 15, but as you say, the weather does look like it's going to turn at the weekend. So partly cloudy, 15, a little bit chilly out there at the moment. Sort of temperatures around 5, sort of 6, 7, 8 degrees. So a little bit cool, but heading for a top of 15 degrees and partly cloudy this afternoon. Tomorrow, probably the pick of the days. Another sort of partly cloudy day, top of 15 degrees with winds starting to swing around to the north. But on Saturday and Sunday, we will see showers returning to the metro area. A good chance of showers developing through Saturday afternoon and evening, but quite wet on Sunday with moderate to heavy showers expected through Adelaide. 15 degrees is forecast, but I think it'll feel a lot cooler than that with the showers around. We're looking at falls of the order of 2 to 10 millimetres across the weekend, so fairly wet from about Saturday afternoon onwards.
Hey, Mark, I caught a headline on the news the other day about the Indian Ocean dipole, which I don't know anything about beyond it was mentioned, and the fact that it was potentially a sign that we might be getting more rain on the way, or at least the rainy conditions might be hanging around. What have you been seeing about that?
Yeah, so the Indian Ocean dipole is very similar in essence, I guess, to the El Nino, La Nina, ENSO thing. While that's over the Pacific, the Indian Ocean dipole is basically a temperature anomaly across the Indian Ocean. And depending on how that anomaly sets itself up, it's likely to bring more shower activity to to South Australia, or less, depending on how it all works out. But at this stage, yes, it looks like it's favourable for an increase in shower activity across South Australia in the sort of coming months.
Good stuff, Mark. Thank you. Mark Anlake, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. No coincidence that comes at the same time as I've installed some sprinklers at home. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL's on the line. Morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Now, tell us about this story. This is interesting. A woman's been found with serious head injuries in the northern suburbs.
That's right, Will. Just before 8 p.m. last night, police and emergency services were called to Sampson Road after reports that a 59-year-old Elizabeth Grove woman was found lying on the road with serious head injuries. She was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital in a critical condition, but it's unknown how the woman's injuries occurred. So police are appealing for anyone who may have seen or heard suspicious activity or a disturbance in the area in the half an hour to an hour beforehand. Please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000, or if you had dashcam footage on your car and you were travelling in the Sampson Road area around sort of 7:30, 8 p.m. last night, please contact police so we can work out what happened.
Yeah, no, it sounds pretty disturbing. Matt, also, a bloke's been arrested after stealing from a building site at Port Noarlunga.
That's right, David. Probably not the first time he's spent a night on the tiles, because he was stealing them from a house. But police called to a house in Serenity Rise just before 1 a.m. This morning after reports of suspicious behaviour. And a car was seen leaving the street loaded with property believed to have been stolen from the property. Police tracked the vehicle to a Hackham West address and spoke to the driver, and it will be alleged that 21 boxes of floor tiles were found in the vehicle. And the floor tiles were identical to the ones that were stolen from the house under construction at Port Noarlunga, along with other items including windows and door parts as well. So the 31-year-old Goolwa Beach man was arrested and charged with serious criminal trespass and theft, and he was a decision to be made on his bail a bit later on. So some good work by patrols there, and also the witnesses for calling it in.
Yeah, absolutely. It happens quite a lot, doesn't it? People pinching stuff from building sites.
That's right. Of course, they're unattended overnight when the tradies aren't there. So the best thing you can do if you've got a property under construction, maybe have a chat to the neighbours or your future neighbours, and introduce yourself and say, hey, look, keep an eye on the property over the weekend or on holidays or things like that. And if you do see anything suspicious, call 131 444 immediately.
Good stuff, Matt. Senior Constable Matt Brown there from SAPOL.
All right, let's flash back in time with Michael Smith from 7 News. This is fascinating, this story, Michael, and I know you've already got a bit of Twitter comment on it from people remembering the famous newsreader swap in Adelaide's past.
Yes, good morning, Will and Dave. I was going to start with a question without notice to see if you guys could tell me the names of Adelaide's 5 sister cities.
Oh.
It's a very 80s sort of concept, the idea of a sister city. Do you know which 5 they are?
Penang?
Yeah, well, Georgetown and Penang.
Yeah, Georgetown, yep.
Is Osaka?
Himeji in Japan.
Himeji, okay. We got the. How about we go with the countries?
Guangzhou?
Guangzhou in China. Christchurch, New Zealand, and Austin, Texas.
Austin. That's right.
And this week's flashback is all about Austin, Texas, and 1986, because as we were celebrating our sesquicentenary, so was Austin, Texas. So someone came up with this idea that wouldn't it be fun to have a newsreader exchange? So Anne Fulwood from Channel 7 in Adelaide went to KTVV Channel 36 in Austin, Texas, and an African-American newsreader called Tonya Cook came to read the news here. She was welcomed in Victoria Square by then Premier John Bannon with a stuffed wombat, of all things.
That was the Jubilee Wombat. He was the mascot of the sesquicentenary, wasn't he?
Well, it wasn't the guy in the character. It was sort of one that she could take home in the overhead locker as opposed to the guy in the Humphrey Bear sort of suit. But it was a curious thing, and she did things like went to the State of Origin at Footy Park with Keith Conlon and did stories on our wine industry, really to give Texans a snapshot of what South Australia was all about. When Anne was in Texas, she went boot scooting, she went to an NFL match, she did a story on Texas fashion. So they were effectively ambassadors for their state to celebrate its 150th birthday. And both stations made a big deal of it. It was great for ratings. There was a sort of real curiosity. Who is this woman that speaks amazingly good English from Austria? She's really good. And Tonya Cook was equally curious. We'd never seen an American television newsreader reading Adelaide news and getting all the pronunciations right. Have a listen to this. This is the opener of the 10 o'clock news on KTVV Channel 36 in Austin.
This is a special edition of News 36, Austin, Adelaide, an international birthday celebration with Bob Holland and Adelaide, South Australia's Anne Fulwood.
Good evening. The battle over in Austin Junior High School is over.
And it was so successful, they did it again later in the year and actually read alongside each other. So what was going to be a week-long experiment ended up happening twice within 6 months. And you can imagine, I mean, you guys would like to go to Austin for a week and host the breakfast radio show, wouldn't you?
For sure. I've just been doing the sums, Michael. If we're still working here in 2036, there's every chance I will be. I'll only be 67 then. That'll be the bicentennial of Adelaide and Austin. We should definitely do it. Austin's apparently a great town.
It looks fantastic. I think Elon Musk lives there now, and it's got a great sort of tech scene, known for its music as well.
Yeah, good music scene.
University town. It'd be a terrific thing to do. So maybe you should put the pitch into the boss now.
Well, hopefully he's listening.
He might just buy us tickets one way, though, Michael. That's the danger.
Oh, well, take retirement. Eat brisket and drink bud for the rest of my life. Worst ways to spend your autumn years.
It's not that far from New Orleans, David, your favourite city in the world.
Exactly.
Wasn't 1986 the year you went to Mexico, by the way?
It was. That was the year I was living in Tehuacan. What was the year you went to El Salvador? Honduras, I mean.
Honduras, a couple of years later.
That's right. Yeah.
I missed our bicentennial, yes, so I was in Honduras instead. But,
I was friends with a guy at uni called Adam Woolwork who had a part-time job in 1986 as he was one of the people who dressed up inside the Jubilee Wombat costume, which is what. Yeah, he had it as a part-time job. He got punched by the father of a toddler. He was down at Marion Shopping Centre, and the Jubilee Wombat had these giant, heavy, extruded plastic hands with claws on them, and they were very hard to control. And poor old Adam's inside the Jubilee Wombat costume, and he's walking down the old Marion Mall. And he accidentally hit a kid in the back of the head and knocked the kid over.
Oh, no.
And he had no idea that he did it. Then the next thing, he feels this giant shove in his back, and it was the father of the kid pushing him face first onto the ground in a wombat suit.
The dangers of stunt work, eh? I wonder whatever happened to JW's costume, because you hear various stories about Fat Cat's head being somewhere and his body being somewhere else. But I wonder if the JW costume is still in someone's garage.
I don't know. If anyone's got it.
If you can track it down.
Give us a ring.
Absolutely. Michael, great stuff. Good to chat.
Thanks, guys.
Michael Smith, 7 News for Flashback segment. You know what I do?
I didn't know that ever happened. What a great thing. I loved Anne Fulwood. She was an excellent newsreader. Whatever happened to Anne Fulwood? She still
went interstate, I think, did she?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I think she went to Melbourne, didn't she?
One thing I do like about South Australians is that we will embrace a Texan newsreader with open arms, but you try and do a Victorian newsreader exchange, and that's it. We're not watching that crap imported from the eastern seaboard.
Exactly.
This rubbish. All the Texans on.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. Oh, that's nice. Here's an African-American person
she
from Austin.
seems lovely.
Telling us what's happening in Manopara.
What do you mean he's from Sydney? What does he know about Adelaide?
It is true. People get extremely territorial. Steve Price, from who people would know from, his days as a print journo, but then latterly he's been the grumpy old man character on The Project, the only sort of person with sensible political views on the entire panel in my book. But he had an ill-fated stint on Sydney radio, and within the space of a week, he's talking about suburbs like Milperra, and he's pronouncing them Milpra. He's mispronouncing suburbs like Janali as Janali, and it became a story. Like the Telegraph started a daily count of how many suburbs has Steve Price mispronounced today. He was only on air for about a year.
Well, every time they've tried to network those sort of talk shows between Sydney and Melbourne, it's been a total disaster.
Yeah,
they
for sure.
sort of get away with it with some of the FM stuff because you don't have to be specific.
Well, it's one of the reasons why we like doing what we do here. And, occasionally we get ads that are produced interstate and they're mentioning things in South Australia, like the ad that says Goolwa, or the Barton. That's a good thing. What are the telltale signs, folks? Let us know. What are the telltale signs that someone's an imposter? What's the thing that, as a South Australian, makes you go, no?
They don't know how to order a beer.
Yeah.
I knew a guy from Sydney I was mates with, and he always go, should we go out for a couple of scowies? I'm like, I don't reckon, mate. No one's ordering a schooner.
I ate pots even more.
Oh, pots. Pony.
Oh, no, but you can get ponies here.
Yeah, but nobody does.
Old guys do. I reckon if you go to
Bowls Club.
Yeah,
you're
right.
right.
Pony.
No, I remember doing a bit of late night bowls at Westlake Shore. The old pony was a thing there, actually. now you mention it. 8223800. You can text us as well on the Automasters text line, 044808 1395. It's a big morning that's still ahead. Matt Abraham coming up after 7:30 today. Tom Duday on the program as well. And very, very shortly, a couple of big stories we're going to talk about. The agriculture sector in Australia bracing itself at the moment for foot and mouth disease that's starting to run rife in Indonesia. The scale of what this would mean in terms of impact on local industry is unfathomable, significantly greater than COVID, say, farmers. So we'll talk about that. And also the handwritten lyrics from a top-selling US band that disappeared some 50 years ago have surfaced in a court trial. 3 men charged with theft. This is absolutely fascinating. We'll talk to you more about it after 7 o'clock this morning.
Well, everybody's gonna buy Hoyt spices. Everyone's gonna save $1 or $2. Everybody's gonna buy Hoyt spices, yeah.
Look for Hoyt's most popular household herbs and spices at your supermarket. Whole black pepper, 4-colour peppercorn mix, oregano, mixed herbs, vanilla sugar, sesame seeds, poppy seeds. Refill your empty spice jars with value to spice up your kitchen. You'll be happy with Hoyt's at Coles, Woolworths and all good independent supermarkets.
Hoyt's spices, yeah.
When a loved one passes, Centennial Park cares like no one else. With stunning spaces for funeral and memorial services and a crematorium on site surrounded by gardens, everything can be taken care of at Centennial Park. Our beautiful foothills location provides a space of natural beauty for connecting with family and friends. Cremations at Centennial Park includes a complimentary initial memorial to give loved ones time to pay their respects. Choose cremations with dignity and care at Centennial Park.
Now, are you one of those people who lie awake at night worrying? Wouldn't it be great to calm your anxious thoughts and just drift away in a blissful sleep? Well, Caruso's Mind Ease could be just what you need.
There's nothing worse than when you know an alarm's going to wake you up that you can't go to sleep because you're never better at mathematics than in that moment.
Oh.
How many? I've got 5 hours, 50 minutes left. And you try to sleep and you roll around. Oh, now it's 5 hours, 37 minutes.
You're describing my last Sunday night before coming back to work.
Oh, yeah. Usually you try to calculate stuff and it takes forever, but suddenly, insomnia, you're a mathematical genius at knowing how much sleep you're not getting.
I went to bed early. I was awake from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. because I woke up at 1 and I thought, hang on. Now, how much time have I got? And then it was still 2 o'clock and I was going, this is just...
That's a nightmare.
That spiral. I should have taken some Caruso's Mind Ease.
Absolutely. Caruso's Mind Ease is a once-a-day capsule that contains lavender oil to help relieve the symptoms of mild anxiety, restlessness and excess nervous energy, promoting a deep sleep and supporting refreshing sleep in adults.
So if you'd like to worry less and sleep more, try Caruso's Mind Ease today. Caruso's Mind Ease, available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label, follow the directions for use, and if symptoms persist, see your health professional.
The Isuzu D-Max is born to tow. With 3.5-tonne towing capacity, trailer sway control and a reversing camera as standard across the range. Search Isuzu D-Max.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A woman has been found lying on the road with head injuries in the northern suburbs. She was discovered on Sampson Road at Elizabeth Grove just before 8 last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says they're trying to work out what happened to the 59-year-old.
She was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital in a critical condition, but it's unknown how the woman's injuries occurred. So police are appealing for anyone who may have seen or heard suspicious activity or a disturbance in the area in the half an hour to an hour beforehand. Please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
The state's largest COVID vaccination clinic will close its doors this afternoon to make way for the Royal Show. Wayville will be replaced by a new hub at the Myer Centre, which opens tomorrow. We recorded just over 4,400 COVID infections yesterday and 2 more deaths. Modelling suggests daily case numbers will hit a peak of 6,000 next Tuesday. Health Minister Chris Picton is urging people to be vigilant.
When we're facing increased cases, it is important to get tested when you're sick, to stay away from work, from school, from parties when you're sick, and importantly to also, when you're in particularly indoor crowded spaces, to wear a mask to protect you and other people as well.
The Prime Minister is defending the end of some COVID support measures despite soaring case numbers in parts of the country. Doctors' groups and the federal opposition say the government needs to consider extending paid pandemic leave and free rapid antigen tests for concession holders. Anthony Albanese has told Today they're taking action.
Extend hospital funding by some $890 million to the states and territories. We'll continue to engage with state and territories. What we have done is to get out there and run and ramp up the advertising campaign to make sure that people can get their booster shot.
The rental crisis is deepening in Adelaide. Domain's new quarterly report shows a 4.3% jump in the cost of renting a house, while unit prices have jumped 2.7%. With Adelaide now the most competitive capital city to find a rental, Domain's Dr Nicola Powell has this advice.
I think for tenants out there looking to secure a lease, it is making sure you've got all your paperwork done. Apply online if you can as well, because this speeds up the overall process for the property manager. Also, once you get offered that property, make sure you're ready to go and pay that deposit.
6 candidates are through to the next round of voting to become Boris Johnson's successor. Carrie-Anne Greenbank reports from London.
Britain's new Prime Minister is set to be in place when Parliament resumes in September. Until then, there's a mammoth process underway to whittle down the contenders. The first ballot was held today, reducing 8 candidates to 6, with former Chancellor Rishi Sunak well in the lead. Penny Mordaunt and her promises to lower tax was close behind him.
A Boston family has been reunited with their cat after it did a runner at the local airport last month. 4-year-old Rowdy escaped from his carrier upon arrival and avoided capture for weeks. An extensive operation to catch him finally paying off after 19 days. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
What's happening in the footy, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, Adelaide will name its side tonight to take on Collingwood on Saturday at Adelaide Oval. The Crows have some selection issues after a flat performance which saw them beaten by 32 points against Hawthorn. Defender Brodie Smith telling Rowie they need to get the balance right of when to defend and when to attack.
Contest is number one for us, and so those guys are very good at doing that, but at times we needed to break forward out of contest. Bez did it a little bit on the weekend. He was pretty good, I thought, in actually driving out of contest and giving us a bit of a different look there, but certainly I think that balance is something that we'll continue to look at.
The Power will name a squad with their match against Melbourne not being played until Sunday, but ruckman Scott Lycett won't be there after a setback with his shoulder. To Rugby League, Queensland has won Game 3 last night, 22-12 at Suncorp Stadium, handing coach Billy Slater a series win in his first campaign as Maroons coach. Queensland lost 2 players to COVID in the build-up to the game and then lost Selwyn Cobbo and Lindsay Collins in the opening minutes to head knocks, but still sealed the win with a 70-metre try from Ben Hunt sealing it. Queensland captain Daly Cherry Evans saying it's one of the most memorable moments of his career.
Anytime you get to finish at a series here in front of your home fans, it just means that so much more. So we did it in front of our friends and family and against all the odds, and it just makes it so special.
Audio there thanks to Nine, and the 150th Open Championship starts tonight at St Andrews. There's 11 Aussies in the field. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
In the city, asphalt works on East Terrace and Grenfell Street. That's at the Oban exit ramp. In the Parklands, you'll find Rundle Road closed today. That's between East Terrace and Kettlewell Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. McGill intersection upgrade works continue there. McGill Road near St Bernard's Road. That's affecting both directions at the moment. And we're starting to get busy South Road as you're driving through Karata Park. Cameras, Anzac Highway, Glenelg East and May Terrace at Brooklyn Park. Head into your local AGO this week for half price Kellogg's 290 to 380 gram cereals like Crunchy Nut, just $2.75. Ends July 19. Participating stores only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, partly cloudy 15 for your Thursday, partly cloudy tomorrow 15. Saturday showers developing, also 15 degrees. Right now it's 8. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
6 after 7. It's a very mild 8.2 degrees outside in Adelaide. Much warmer in the UK, where they're bracing for potentially the hottest day in history come this weekend. Vincent McAvenny's our man in London and joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Vincent, how are you bearing up?
Yeah, it is pretty hot here at the moment. We're expecting potentially getting to 100 degrees Fahrenheit this weekend.
Wow.
And the record for the hottest day ever in the UK. I don't know how. I think in Australia, most households probably there have air conditioning. Pretty much no households in the UK have air conditioning. So if you're at the office and they've got the aircon on, it's pretty nice when you get home in the evening. It's pretty sticky. It's pretty not nice to sleep at the moment.
Yeah, 100 Fahrenheit set 37.7 in Celsius. So that's getting seriously hot.
The other thing, Vincent, I don't know the UK very well. I've only ever spent I've been there once, and I spent pretty much all of it in Bermondsey and Wapping. I didn't go anywhere else. But is the country equipped with things like public swimming pools, or do people, do private residents in Great Britain, do many people have pools in their homes?
Private swimming pools, not so much. No, not at all really in the UK. There are quite a lot of public lidos, so public swimming pools in the UK. There's been a real revival in them in recent years of converting ones that have fallen into disrepair back. But yeah, not as many as really there should be. Lots of people will be, I think, heading to the coast this week then to try and avoid the heat a bit, because it's going to be pretty unbearable. There is a very rare severe heat warning out, being encouraged to look after kids in particular, and to sort of check on elderly neighbours and relatives as well.
Because a lot of those, thinking back to like in the East End, there's a lot of people live in tenement buildings and a lot of very poor public housing around there. Like, they wouldn't be equipped at all to deal with this, would they?
No, not at all. I mean, I live in a flat that was built 6 years ago, in quite a completely modern tower, but you know, there would be no thought of putting in aircon in that kind of building, because it's just not deemed as necessary in the UK. So yeah, it is going to be a pretty sticky few days here.
What's your strategy? What are you going to do to avoid it?
Well, I did go swimming yesterday, so that's definitely one of them. Drinking lots of water, having all the blinds drawn in the day to keep the place cold, and actually spending as much time at work as possible because we've got aircon.
You might even have to start chilling your beer.
Yeah.
Vincent, well,
hey, good luck, mate.
Look after everyone that's going to swelter through it, mate. We're wishing you the best.
Thanks very much, guys.
Vincent McAvenny, our man in London.
It is a massive story, isn't it? It's going to be extraordinary seeing the footage.
That's the point he makes is the right one, because in Australia, at very least, if it got to unfathomably hot, like that 46-degree day we had, even if you don't have air conditioning, you probably know someone who does.
Yeah.
So you can go around someone's place.
But having air conditioning is a pretty bedrock requirement of a house in Australia.
Mm.
How many of our listeners don't have air conditioning? Love
Yeah,
to
but-
hear from people. Is there anybody listening to our show who doesn't have it?
I bet I reckon there would be.
There would be people. Some people are equipped to deal with it. Like we actually didn't have an air conditioner for the first, I reckon, 10 years of my life. When we lived in O'Sullivan's Beach, I don't think we had one. Then when we moved to Mitchell Park, we didn't. There was no ducted air conditioning in the house. We had one refrigerated air conditioner in the living room, but when it was hot, we used to just get like a portable fan, put it in our rooms, and I'd often put a wet towel on a chair and just sleep with a sheet. And then Dad put in ceiling fans when I was about 13, and that was like the real revolution.
Oh, yeah.
No pun intended.
That would have been fun. All right, let's get to some of the other stories making news here in Adelaide and around Australia this morning. Well, let's start with the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, who made a very early appearance on Nine's Today show to talk about COVID relief payments.
We know that we have this strain that is having a real impact out there, and we'll continue to work as well with state and territory governments. This isn't something that the federal government does alone. What happened during the pandemic is that the federal government took responsibility for the rollout of the vaccine and for accessing the vaccine, and didn't get enough vaccines. We know that early enough. That was federal government took responsibility for that.
Caught betwixt and between the feds at the moment, where they are trying to roll back this sort of COVID relief and stimulus measures that have, in and of themselves, contributed to inflationary pressures.
The irony, though, is that they were the very things they were demanding when they were in opposition.
That's right.
Every day. We need more money for this, we need more money for that. Now it's like, we haven't got the money.
So now you're trying to combat inflation, but at the same time warning people that COVID's back in a big way and you need to stay at home. In fact, it's an impossible situation.
Yeah, because there's so much logical tension between so many of the things we're being told to do.
Yes, absolutely.
We need to avoid COVID. We need to keep the economy open.
Yes. If you're out in the land, maybe down in the southeast at some of our big agricultural districts in South Australia, the biggest story in Australia today is the potential of foot and mouth disease making it over from Indonesia. There's an outbreak there at the moment in 2 Indonesian provinces. One of those is Bali. And this is where the tension comes, because obviously there's a huge amount of Australians that travel to Bali and have been in recent weeks too, with people getting back to international travel. It's killed thousands of cows, hundreds of others are infected. If it gets here, this is amazing. Official modelling projects $80 billion hit to the industry.
Oh, my God.
$80 billion. They're saying it'll be worse than COVID by a significant margin. Here's Tony Marr from the Farmers Federation.
This is extremely serious, more serious than we've ever faced in terms of a disease that could absolutely decimate and devastate Australian agriculture. We haven't had a disease this close and of this high concern probably ever. Foot and mouth disease, it's been 150 years since we've had it in Australia, and this is as close as it's ever got.
So there's official warnings now from the government's Smart Traveller website. If you're going to Bali, you're going to Indonesia, passengers are urged to check before you pack to avoid bringing home items potentially exposed to biosecurity risks. You're told to clean clothes before you get back on the plane. Ditch old dirty shoes. If you were wearing thongs on your Bali trip,
chuck them out.
Throw them out. Don't bring them back. Dispose of all meat or dairy products. Declare any rural area visits that you were at in the previous 30 days and disclose anything you've got, such as a souvenir.
The federal government is taking it seriously. They've sent the Agriculture Minister to Jakarta. It's still not enough in the eyes of some of the beef producers who are actually calling for Australia to close the border to Indonesia.
Well, $80 billion hit to one of our most important industries.
What would it do to meat prices, though? Imagine that.
There's already a food shortage worldwide. This is a fascinating story from the world of entertainment. 3 men have been charged with plotting to steal the handwritten lyrics from the Eagles' album.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
The charge is that they tried to sell them knowing that they were stolen. That kicks it into another realm. The album came out in 1976, belonging to Don Henley, valued at more than $1 million. Now, this is where the story gets particularly interesting. One of the 3 men accused is an employee with curator responsibilities at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. So he's been suspended as a result. The New York District Attorney's Office said the trio would engage in a years-long campaign to prevent Henley from recovering the manuscripts. For their part, the men denied the charges. It's a remarkable story because the manuscript went missing back in the 70s when a biographer who was charged with writing about the band got carriage of them. They disappeared. And somehow they've wound up in the hands of this museum curator who, along with another man, it's alleged, have been trying to sell them privately. It's just phenomenal. And it's interesting too, given the success of the album that's the subject of all this, the third best-selling album of all time in the United States, Hotel California, 26 million copies sold. Their greatest hits is the biggest ever selling album in the United States.
There's a big incentive for getting your hands on the lyrics because if you actually got the written down version of the song, you could solve one of the great mysteries in rock music, i.e., what is the lyric when he says warm smell of colitis rising up through the air? Is it colitis? Colitis? What is that?
That's a good question.
Warm smell of colitis rising up through the air. Like there's been, I remember the D Generation did a debate about what was the word. Someone said it was Chiquito. It's certainly not colitis. Colitis. What does that even mean? Warm smell of colitis. What's colitis?
If you search
it might be a slang term for smoking dope or something. Who knows? Does anyone know what the word is?
Okay, if you search for the word on Google, the first thing that comes up is Hotel California. Okay.
Oh, really?
Now,
how's it even spelled?
Colitas.
That must be a Spanish word.
No, the suggestion is it is a slang term to do with marijuana. Basically.
Yeah, right. Okay. Colitis. I reckon it's I reckon everyone who's heard that song, what are they saying there?
That's amazing. It's not actually
because the rest of the
in
song's
the real
so
dictionary.
Lyrically clear. I reckon if you actually put your mind to it, you could probably write down the lyrics to that song. It's so well known.
Okay, it's
on a dark desert highway.
A
cool
slang
wind
term in
my hair.
Mexico for the buds of the cannabis plant.
Yeah, okay, colitas.
We've got some texts coming through on the Automasters text line 0448081395.
We're getting quite a few about how you spot an imposter as a South Australian. Glenn from Glenunga with an obvious but compelling one here. Easy when people don't know what Fritz is. Kim with a Y. These are good. You can tell someone's not South Australian if they say RAA. I'm in a bit of strife on the road, so I'm going to give the RAA a ring. And this one, dead giveaway, if they say 5AA instead of 5AA.
You're 5AA. Yeah.
No one would say 5AA.
No one in Adelaide would say that.
Cotton says interstaters have a habit of pronouncing Angaston as Angaston and calling Gaston and calling OG Road Og Road. Og Road.
Keep coming in 0448081395. You can call us too, of course. 8223 0000. Love to chat with you. Let's check traffic. There's still time. Join Samry's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samrybright.org.au.
Good morning, Will. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettlebell Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. At Sturt, changed traffic conditions. Marion Road at South Road with you Ashville going down last night. Speeds reduced and no lines marked. And Aldinga, various works happening on Main South Road near Little Road. It's affecting both directions and pretty slow going for the drive-in at the moment. Getting busy, Marion Road at Cross Road with a camera at Beach Road, Christie's Beach. Australian avocados are great value right now. They're everywhere. To celebrate, they're officially, unofficially sponsoring July. So hurry, get your local shops and grab a few today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
Australia has been a country that's always valued tolerance and the right to free speech for a long time. But it seems different points of view on certain social or political issues are in short supply. In fact, we seem to be living in an age where a converse opinion is enough to upset or enrage, or worse yet, end friendships.
9 till 12 weekdays.
Whatever happened to the contest of ideas?
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
$1 mattress upsize at Harvey Norman. Purchase a selected Australian-made queen-size mattress from King Coil, Sealy Posturepedic, Sleepmaker or Beauty Rest, and for $1 more, upgrade to a king size. Plus 60 months interest-free, no deposit, no interest from Latitude with 60 approximately equal monthly payments and receive a bonus gift card up to $1,000. Finance only available if you have or are approved for a participating Latitude credit card. Minimum financed amount $1,000. See T's and C's. Interest applies for non-compliance. Fees and product exclusions apply. $1 mattress upsize at Harvey Norman. Willa.
Hoyt's Herbs and Spices is a 100% Australian family-owned company. Hoyt's products you see in your aisle are packed and processed in Australia. You support local Australian manufacturing and Hoyt supports Aussie jobs. Always. That thought alone leaves a good taste in your mouth. And we haven't even opened the herbs and spices yet. Hoyt's changes the mood of food. In your spice aisle now at Coles, Woolworths and good independent supermarkets.
Fill those empties with Hoyt's Spices, yeah.
It's one of the hardest and most complex decisions you can make, deciding on the future well-being of your parents.
Well, now you can find out all about it in one place in the 2022 Aged Care Guide, and the good news is it's absolutely free.
In it, you'll find information on all aged care homes, home care providers, placement consultants, My Aged Care information, and a comprehensive list of aged care financial support services to give you a better understanding of costs. It also has a comprehensive list of providers of these services to enable you to choose the best provider that suits you. Other features include types of care available, the ins and outs of short-term care, applying for funding and much more.
For 22 years, the Aged Care Guide has supported local SA businesses. For your free copy of the 2022 Aged Care Guide, call 8276 7999, that's 826 7999, and arrange to have it delivered free to your door.
For over 38 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. The team at Steinborner have been buying up the best vehicles around, so you can enjoy your first drive back from Gawler in one. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. So, Steinborner Automotive is still well worth the trip, or well worth the click.
If you want to build a new home, something that reflects you and your lifestyle, then you really need to speak with Beechwood Homes. And just so you know, they won't try and sell you a house plan. In fact, there's no house plans until you tell them what you want. So go for it. Start thinking of all the possibilities or get in touch with Beechwood Homes for a few thought starters. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
22 minutes after 7, it's the 14th of July, and it's identified earlier on the Automasters text line. Bastille Day in France. It's a big day there. It's a big day at the Central Markets today. They're doing a lot to celebrate, and we're going to be there tomorrow morning, broadcasting the show live from 6 o'clock, which is one of our favourite places in Adelaide to get to do the show. Jodie Kinane is the General Manager of the Adelaide Central Market. Morning to you, Jodie.
Good morning, David and Will.
So, Jodie, what have you got lined up for this auspicious occasion?
We've got an amazing lineup. Obviously, it's a really anticipated event for the community to come along and celebrate wonderful food and culture from France. So we've got a whole huge program for the next 3 days lined up. We've got an abundance of locally made French-inspired produce, and that includes pastries, baguettes, cheeses, truffle, charcuterie. So all the things that you know and love about France, our traders are delivering over the next couple of days.
See, the good thing about the market, and I must admit, every time we do a live broadcast, I say to Will, mate, I'm gonna stick around for quite some time after the show. It's already on any given day the go-to place in Adelaide for any French food needs or wants you've got, like with the cheese shop and that superb little place that makes the terrines and the sausages and the pâtés. What's it called? Le Deux Cop?
Yeah,
whatever that means in French. That's right.
Le Coq. So they've been here almost 4 years in the market, and they're going to have some wonderful products and all really authentic handmade French fare. And like you say, those products are available every day in the market, which makes it so wonderful. But on top of that, because we've got roving entertainment and can-can dances and live music and got a Crook and Bosch cooking demonstration tonight with Le Cordon Bleu, some walking tours, champagne, free kids activities, gingerbread decorating. So we've got something for everyone here. And I've walked through the market this morning. We're not open till 9 on a Thursday, but already I can sort of sense the anticipation of all the traders gearing up for what will be a wonderful 3 days of celebration.
Excellent. Well, we can't wait to get in there and share in the celebrations with you, Jody. Jody Canane, the General Manager of the Adelaide Central Market. We'll see you in the morning.
All right, let's turn our attention to sport. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. Last night, Rowie caught up with the footballing great Lee Matthews to talk about Connor Rosie.
But often I think they need to physically mature emotionally to earn the right. He's a runner, isn't he? He's agile, he's quick. He's not a big, bulky Matt Rowell. No, Matt Rowell as an 18-year-old looked like he was 25. You wouldn't have known the difference. So he probably just had to get kind of strong enough to play around the middle. But I've been watching a guy from Sydney by the name of Chad Warner. He plays a little bit like Connor Rosie. I mean, that they can run the ball away from congestion. Now, it's one thing to get the ball in your hands, but it's another thing to have that leg speed and power to run the ball away from your congestion. And if you get half a chance in the forward 50, you kick a goal. And Rosie's got all those capabilities, hasn't he? So he does. He always looked like he was going to be a gun player, but now that he's got the 50 games on probably under his belt, he's now producing it fairly regularly, and he'll be part of the future midfield.
Yeah, you think of players in that mould. Bailey Smith probably like that from the Western Bulldogs as well. If there was a knock on Ken Hinkley's coaching that's obvious to people outside of football this year, you'd be asking the question why it took so long to get Connor Rosie into the midfield. He's the
He was really good against GWS in that first half, wasn't he?
He's the quintessential guy who we have. There is not there's not a very good translation between possessions got and your impact on a game of football, and sometimes we overrate the raw number because Connor Rosie's the kind of guy that can get 20 and it feels like he's gone right through you. And there are plenty of other blokes, and the Crows midfield's guilty of this, that can get 30 touches and you go, oh, hang on, where were they? What were they doing? He's the kind of guy, and they're the guys that should get paid the big bucks, that just put you to the sword, and they don't need to get it 35 times to do it. He's an absolute star, and the kind of company that you can talk about him keeping is only going to grow, and the accolades from greats like Lee Matthews is something he's going to get used to, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We started this half hour talking to Vincent McAviney in London about the heat wave that's hitting our friends in the old country. We're talking about Australians not having air conditioners and asking how many people don't have an air conditioner, either by choice or for reasons of lack of cash. Kevin has called in. G'day, Kev. You don't have an air conditioner, mate?
We do at the moment, but I was just relating back to the late 40s and early 50s. We used to live up at Port Pirie, which is quite warm up there, and we never had air conditioning. And the only way we could keep the house warm was because the lounge used to face the western side. I used to go out there in the afternoon, and I had to hose the side of the house down with a garden hose just to keep it cool, but I think that might create a bit more humidity. And and then at the night time, we used to wheel our beds out, which are on wheels, outside to sleep to keep cool. But then by the early hours of the morning, mosquitoes were so bad we had to come back inside again.
Oh, no.
And then in the early 50s, we graduated to a portable water cooler. And that was my task then, with a bucket brigade to fill the water cooler up about every half an hour. But that was our experiences back in those days. And it
would have been quite nice sleeping outside, particularly if we were sort of out under the stars in Port Pirie. I mean, you'd be able to see every star in the sky out there back in the 50s.
Yeah, we could pretty well. The only sort of distraction, we were a fair way away from the shunting yards with the railways, and they went all night. But it was the mosquitoes that forced us back indoors again.
Oh, great call, Kevin.
Absolutely.
Thanks for that, mate.
Good on you, Kevin. Thank you. 8223 0000, the number. You can text us on the Automasters text line 0448 08 1395. More from Stephen Rowe on the Sports Show tonight. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way.
How far would you go for your dream kitchen? And how far would you go to not deal with organising all the trades? How about 15 minutes up the freeway to Balhanna Kitchens by Design? 2, the largest showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Custom build your dream with our award-winning designers. Plus, we can manage the installation and all sub-trades at a fixed price. Balhana Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream a reality. balhanakitchens.com.au.
I don't really like talking on radio, but I do like talking about our cows at the FIVEaa Milk Company. And I love helping support SA dairy farmers. They're a great bunch with beautiful families. They work day and night to produce the best milk in SA. So when you're in the supermarket, look for FIVEaa Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. I'm getting good at this.
FIVEaa Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FIVEaamilkco.com.au.
Now, Will, there's been a lot of discussion about what's going on in the British Conservative Party. Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to find a local power struggle, I'd point you in the direction of Richmond Road, because it's all happening at Wohlers. Now, we've talked up James and his incredible offers in furniture. Well, now it's his sister Rachel who's thrown down the gauntlet. She's just announced even better offers on home, which she's put James to shame here.
You know, this is a bit like an episode of Succession, what's playing out with Wohlers at the moment. They're all vying for power in the family. You know, everyone's got a legitimate claim.
That's right.
Some of the tactics are getting dirty, but the beneficiary is you, the consumer.
You've got the inside running though, on what it means for the consumer.
I've been handed a little bit of information. So we're talking minimum 20% off all handbags, up to 65% off, 25% off all jewellery, 25% off all beanies and scarves, plus one of your favourites, Dave, 60% off selected Australian fragrances.
I don't know about the fragrances, but I wouldn't mind one of those 25% off beanies. It's Wohlers' Spoil Yourself sale with hundreds of items on sale right now.
You can spoil yourself, or what a great opportunity to stock up and buy some gifts with up to 65% off.
So shop where we do when it comes to spoiling yourself or that special person in your life. Wohlers, Mount Barker, Richmond and Tanunda. And Will, you have a bit of a breaking at 7:30 here.
Oh, here we do. All right, so just sit down. We can announce opening in Victor Harbour early 2023. Another Wohlers, a brand new Wohlers.
Excellent for Victor.
Fantastic news.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
Police are trying to work out how a woman came to be lying on a road at Elizabeth Grove last night with critical head injuries. The 59-year-old was discovered on Sampson Road just before 8. Senior Constable Matt Brown is appealing for the public's help if anyone was in the area at the time.
Or if you had dashcam footage on your car and you were travelling in the Sampson Road area around sort of 7:30, 8 p.m. last night, please contact police so we can work out what happened.
And a car fire is under investigation at North Plympton this morning. It broke out in the front yard of a house in Allchurch Avenue just after 5. The fire was quickly extinguished and didn't spread to the property. The cause of the blaze is unknown. The COVID vaccination hub at Wayville is shutting up shop today as preparations ramp up for the Royal Show. Since opening in April last year, more than 500,000 jabs have been administered on site. It will be replaced by a new clinic at the Maya Centre in the mall, which opens tomorrow. South Australians returning from Indonesia are being urged to clean their clothes and throw away footwear to stop foot and mouth disease arriving on our shores. The disease has broken out in Bali and there are growing concerns tourists could bring it back home. It's estimated our livestock industry will suffer losses of $80 billion if it spreads. Chair of SA Primary Producers, Professor Simon Maddox, wants travellers to be hyper-vigilant.
The real risk at the moment is to make sure that travellers leaving Australia for holidays, and certainly all travellers, irrespective of their original source, arriving into Australia through some of these northern ports, are absolutely vigilant about not bringing back contaminated footwear or meat-related products that might be carrying live virus.
The father of a former choir boy is launching a bid to sue George Pell and the Catholic Church. In 2018, Cardinal Pell was found guilty of abusing 2 then-teenage choir boys in the 1990s. However, the conviction was quashed by the High Court and the Cardinal was released from prison. Inflation in the United States has hit a 4-decade high, driven by the surging cost of petrol, food and rent. Alison Petrowski reports.
Consumer inflation soaring 9.1% in the 12 months ending in June, the highest increase since November 1981, driven by a jump in petrol prices, up nearly 60% over the year. President Biden says the figure is unacceptably high, but also out of date, not reflecting the full impact of 30 days of decreases at the pump. It's likely historic action will be taken to combat inflation, economists expecting the US central bank to raise rates by a full percentage point later this month.
The US president says the connection between his country and Israel is bone deep. Joe Biden has kicked off his first presidential tour of the Middle East with a visit to Tel Aviv. He says the relationship is deeper and stronger than it's ever been.
Every chance to return to this great country, where the ancient roots of the Jewish people date back to biblical times, is a blessing, because the connection between the Israeli people and the American people is bone deep.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Starting with AFL, and it is selection night for the Crows and Port Adelaide ahead of their round 18 matches on the weekend. The Power will only name a squad for their clash against Melbourne, which is being played on Sunday, while the Crows may again drop Matt Crouch for Saturday's clash against Collingwood at home. Meantime, Sydney is shooting down claims it's lowballed Lance Franklin during contract negotiations. It could see the 35-year-old play for a third club next season. Richmond goal-kicking great Matthew Richardson says he'd be shocked if that was the case.
And why wouldn't you want to stay at the Swans? I know they've had a few inconsistencies over the second half of the year, but when they play good footy, it's exciting. There's so many good young players coming through. Warner was great the other night, Goulden, Blakey off half-back. Why wouldn't you want to keep playing with them?
To Rugby League, Queensland has recorded a stunning 22 to 12-point win against New South Wales in Game 3 of the State of Origin series to claim a dramatic 2-1 series win. It's been hailed as one of the great Origin clashes, but Blues coach Brad Fittler doesn't agree.
We come up with some basic errors. So from a point of view of Queensland, might have been their greatest performance, as in the greatest game. I'd say no.
Pat Carrigan was named the Wally Lewis medalist for Player of the Series. And in some other sport, the 150th Open Championship starts tonight at St Andrews. There's 11 Aussies in the field. And in some netball news, Rebecca Bully has been named as the new coach of the Queensland Firebirds. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Ketterwood Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. At Sturt, changed traffic conditions on Marion Road at South Road with new asphalt going down last night. Speeds reduced and no lines marked. And Eastwood paving works on Glen Osmond Road near Young Street. Speeds are reduced. Getting busy, Marion Road at Cross Road, and we've got cameras at Elfie Terrace, Glenelg North, and Perry Bar Road at Hallett Cove. Enjoy a chicken meal like no other from Oporto. Whole succulent chicken, flame grilled and basted with your choice of sauce and 2 delicious sides. All for just $24.95. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, 15 today and partly cloudy tomorrow, 15. Saturday showers developing, 15 as well. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For over 38 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. You won't find a better range of cars covering the entire region from Gawler to the Barossa Valley and Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip or well worth the click.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. Don't you hate it when things are out of your control? Like electricity prices. Well, they're about to skyrocket. But with NRG Solar on your roof, combined with battery storage, you could zero out those power bills altogether. The home battery scheme ends soon, so this really is your last chance to get $2,000 off the price of a Tesla Powerwall. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today and take control of your power bills. nrgsolar.com.au.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
22 to 8, John Blake before 8 o'clock this morning, then after 8. Tom Duday will join us in the 5AA Breakfast studio ahead of the Crows clash Saturday with Collingwood. You can hear it here live on 5AA. Stephen Rowe and Mark Bickley will be on the call Saturday afternoon. Right now, it's time to talk politics and spin and everything in between.
Out of 10, every time.
Matt Abraham live in the studio with us, thanks to your local Mitre 10. Friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful Mitre 10. Morning, Matt.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David.
You're looking very rugged up today, Matt. You look like something out of a sort of rod and gun catalogue.
Oh, well, thank you
Dashing
very
man
much.
about town. You've got it's an R.M. Williams jacket, isn't it?
It is. It is. This
The scarf's good.
I wore this at the ABC once, and Robbie Brecken, colleague, journo, said to me, "Oh, it's a yard. No, it's a car coat." I said, "It's not a car coat."
What's a car coat?
Oh, like I think I used to wear it in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Right.
Like
With your driving gloves.
Yeah, with driving gloves.
Ah.
I said it's a yard coat.
Yeah,
a yard coat.
Yeah, I think out when you're rounding up cattle or something like that.
How often do you do that?
Not often. I got on. I spend most of my time rounding up grandkids. I got on special, of course, at the annual R.M. Williams sale.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
At the show? At the Royal Show?
We're at the show grounds.
Yeah. They do that big thing down near the Dairy Pavilion.
Including one of my biggest fashion mistakes, buying a pair of green moleskins. I couldn't work out why they were on special.
You've got to wear them in one
All
day.
right on St. Patrick's Day, but no.
If we were ranking the most influential voices in South Australia, where does Nicola Spurrier rank, do you think, right now?
Well, just over a week ago, so I've started, I've been wearing a mask at the supermarket. I'm sort of quite jumpy because you just get this feeling that COVID's closing in on you if you haven't had it.
You haven't had it, have you?
No.
Yeah.
And so about a week ago, I was at the supermarket wearing a mask and came home and said, no one's wearing masks at the supermarket. Like, hardly anyone. Like, you feel like a bit of a freak. Then during the week, Nicola goes to the Mitcham pharmacy and gets her fourth booster, which I got last Friday at the Wavell Showgrounds Pavilion, whatever it is, and says, you've got to mask up. The next day, I go to the supermarket and it is Mask City.
Yeah, it's jumped a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, I would say about 80-90% of people wearing masks, certainly at crowded indoor settings, which is what they're suggesting we do now. And, I've said this before, but I don't think it should be mandated. It's just like, this is common sense. Do it if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. That's your business. But
can I provide you with a less comforting interpretation of what you saw that day? Because I'm sure, and I agree with 100%, Nicola Spurrier said it and there was an immediate reaction in the public. But I know this from bitter experience. If you are the household contact of someone that has COVID, you get a little text message from SA Health that says you must wear a mask whenever you're out in a public setting.
Oh, really?
How many of those people are living with someone that has COVID right now?
Well, this is a good point, because the numbers are going up heaps, and that's why we have this bit of a kerfuffle going on with the federal government. Anthony Albanese, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, saying that, they're going to discontinue the free rats to people who can't afford them, effectively. And because that was a decision of the previous government. And I did like this tweet from the cartoonist John Kadulka, who said, could somebody please inform the Prime Minister that he is able to make his own decisions? and this would make being Prime Minister a lot easier for him, if this sort of revelation dawns on him.
I like governments sticking their beaks out of our lives and think that people should be able to make their own choices as much as possible. Do you think, though, Matt, that the absence of a mask mandate risks creating tension between those who wear masks, like you have started, doing again at the supermarket, and the many, many people like me who still don't, where people who are masking up think, well, I'm doing this because there's clearly a lot of COVID around still, and I'm wearing masks because I'm going to make myself safer, but everybody else safer. Do you think there's an argument that if Nicola Spurrier and every other health professional in the land and overseas is saying you're safer, everyone's safer if you wear a mask in public in crowded spaces, is there an argument to get the laggards and libertines like me on board to say they should mandate it again?
Well, I think it'd be highly unpopular because I think the mandates went too far, and we do have a highly vaccinated population. I am surprised that we're not as vaccinated as we could be when it comes to the third dose.
Yeah, me too. It's crazy.
I think it's still in the 60s.
Yeah,
somewhere.
It's really low compared to second dose.
And I was a bit reluctant to get a fourth jab. because I had quite a reaction to the third, the Pfizer jab. I had 2 AstraZenecas to start with, but went to the Wayville Clinic and
You got Pfizer number 4?
Yes.
Because
yeah.
they like 3 and 4 to be the same. Because I
Yes.
got Moderna third time. The guy almost gave me a Pfizer at Terry White.
It's like hundreds and
What'd you have
thousands.
last time? And I said, oh, well, I think it was Pfizer. Yeah. And he said, oh, I'll check your records. He goes, no, it's Moderna. I said, oh, I'll give you a Moderna.
Give me one of them. I'll have
Whatever.
one of those.
I'll have what he's having.
But I was at the Wayville Clinic because we went there. This is classic human behaviour when we heard they were going to close it. Well, we'll get down there. And as of Monday, of course, as of this week, they've made it for a lot younger people to get, access to the 4th jab. And I thought, there'll be a huge rush Monday. And they're closing it on Thursday. And it was quite obvious to me because they'd taken away all the computers. They were all working on these little iPads, these little wobbly iPads, that there was going to be a big rush on Monday morning when they opened it up to younger people. And then they're shutting it on Thursday and have shifted it to the Maya Centre is going to be one of the main clinics. I thought you couldn't put, who wants to go into the CBD? Or am I, I don't want to bag Rundle Mall, but anyway.
It's not as convenient. Parking
But
wise.
isn't I reckon the counter argument though is that it's really easy to get it done at your local chemist.
Yep.
Like there's Terry White pharmacies all over the place.
That's true.
The Health Engine booking system is really easy to use. It took me literally 3 minutes to do it. I did it on my phone. 2:45 Monday. I'm in Cumberland Park. See you there. Rocked up. There were 3 people waiting in front of me, and I was home by 3:05.
Yeah,
it was good.
Wherever you go and however you do it, it is easy now. Like they do, the system is sorted. But we didn't want to book. We just did a walk up. So
yeah. Well, exactly. It was good for people wanting to do that.
Policy making's been so fraught in the COVID area. The federal government are finding it out now with the COVID relief payments. We're getting texts about that, like from Stephen Kidman Park, who's saying in the absence of them, how many people are not getting tested because it's financially not necessarily viable for them. But I went back and had a look. March 22, the COVID ready modelling came out from Adelaide University that the state government got rid of the mask mandate on the basis of. I tell you what, they didn't bear up particularly accurately on the out part of that, if we're using budgetary terms. And at the time, we asked Nicola Spurrier about this, and she did make the point in SA Health's defence that projecting further than a few weeks into the future was difficult. But if you look at the end of that graph, 31st of May, they're basically talking about cases. By the scale, it's almost 0 new cases day by day. And here we are talking about a peak next Tuesday that'll be 6,000 cases, which is as high as it was predicted almost to have ever gotten back in March.
That's cases in hospital, isn't it?
This is new cases per day.
New cases
Ward
per day.
occupancy, they had peaking at over 200.
There's
and
many
by
more than
now,
that.
being well lower than 25.
Yeah, and there's many more than that because, fortunately, most people who are vaccinated aren't hospitalised. That's So I was thinking this coming in this morning that there's the federal government and state governments, I think, in all their budget planning, they would have made a provision for this kicking on, but I don't think anyone expected COVID to be the gift that keeps on giving.
What a gift!
It just keeps on keeping on, and it keeps changing. And Greg Sheridan wrote a great piece in the Oz.
Yeah, it was good, that piece.
Yeah, it was quite incredible because both he and Christine Wallace agreed on, which I think's a first. But he wrote a great piece. But he said everyone assumes also that these new variants coming along are less and less. They're more and more transmissible, but less and less deadly. And he said, but viruses don't work like that. Like nothing about a virus says, my next variant's going to be less deadly. Like that, all a virus is interested in is surviving and replicating itself. And it's So this is why you could just see with Nicola Spurrier, she's busting to have compulsory mask, mandated. I think that, the times have moved on from that. All the state governments seem really reluctant to go back into
Not to mention the police commissioner, who's back to his day job, because if they're going to be mandated, he needs to start being the man running the joint again.
Well, they need to. I thought they'd fix this actually, but they need to redeclare a state of emergency.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I reckon Grant Stevens, he'd be not hot to trot.
No.
On that. Oh, just quickly, a breaking at 11 to 8. I'm reliably informed that Ashton Hearn, new MP and opposition spokesperson on health, and the new MP for Bragg, Jack Batty, were having lunch in Kensington yesterday. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
You're not suggesting there's some sort of like long-term leadership coup,
Oh,
are you, mate?
Moderates
No.
gathering in public. They're getting more brazen.
Getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
Well, one of us is going to be leaving. That's our plan.
All right, let's rake some spin.
5 to 10 out of 10 every time.
Okay. I want to take you to the Irish Parliament. Now, I can't pronounce the name for the Irish Parliament. I'm not even going to try, even though my mother was a McCoy. But they can I just say, I first saw a little grab of this on Twitter, and I went looking for the longer version, and I spent hours doing this. Okay, scrolling through the live TV of the Irish Parliament, in particular. The Planning and Development Amendment Number 2 Bill 2022 second stage, and this is the independent MP for Tipperary, Matty McGrath.
And a month or two, and now they're just vague. There's no decision date on it. And that's happening with a lot of projects. So Board Pranal is not fit for purpose. There's too much political influence, I think they've been alluded to too, as far as I'm concerned there. And it's not transparent, and we'll see when all the dirty linen is washed, we'll see when the clothes are hanging out the line a good summer's day like today, they'll be fairly well stained. And the washing machine and Daz, or whatever they call it, that they use now, I don't know, they've gone away from Daz. I'm not saying I'm a bad homemaker now that I don't do some washing, but I'm not up to speed in the capsules that go in, the type of them that go into the washing machine. But it used to be surfing Daz when I was a Dino in the Town Crawler, I remember that as well. But look, we have a lot of clearing up to do. So this bill is not fit for purpose, and as I said, it's coming emergency legislation long after the Supreme Court gave us judgment.
Okay.
I was batting about 25% making sense of that.
So something about a washing machine.
Yeah,
Reminded me a bit of the late, great Trevor Carruthers.
The only difference between Matty McGrath, and the late, great Trevor Carruthers is Matty McGrath doesn't drink.
What's his excuse?
I don't know. And what's priceless about the video is a look on I assume it's the speaker's face when he got into the washing machine and the dazzle and the capsules. I think it's perfect spin if you can't understand actually what they're saying. So I'm giving him a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Well done. We're branching out. Irish Parliament, look out. Good on you, Matt. Great to have you in. Thanks to your local Mitre 10. Friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful. Mitre 10. Let's check traffic. There's still time to join Samri's Bright Walk for a brighter future. samribright.org.au.
Thanks, Will. In the Parklands, you'll find Rundle Road closed today. That's between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. It's for the Illuminate Festival. At Sturt, changed traffic conditions. Maureen Road at South Road with New Ashville going down last night. Speeds reduced and no lines marked. And at Aldinga, various works happening on Main South Road near Little Road. It's affecting both directions. Pretty slow going for the drive-in. Keep an eye for camera 2. Anzac Highway at Glenelg East. Shopping is so much easier when you use the Coles app. Plus, you can create and share shopping lists to make grocery shopping simple. Download the Coles app today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hello, geeks to you.
Yes, hello.
I may have lost some photos.
Well, let's go find them.
Yes! Yes!
Tech problems? For remote or on-site help, go to geeks2u.com.au or 1300 geeks2u.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
I can hear on a boat. I can hear in the shower. I can even hear when I swim.
Some of that's down to Audeo Life, the world's first waterproof rechargeable hearing aids. Call Connect Hearing now for your free 10-day trial on 1300 520 804.
City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Falcon Zeek ZE914 car tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for cost-saving, fuel efficiency and performance. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
Six minutes to 8. John Blake in just a moment. But first...
Thanks to Smeg, it's time for the dish that defines your suburb.
That's right, it is a Thursday morning, and from now until 9 o'clock, we're going to be playing Dish That Defines Your Suburb. We've got a Smeg blender that's joined us in the studio. You can see it if you're watching live on the 5AA Facebook live stream on YouTube as well. You'll see it sitting there perched next to David. I believe it's even plugged in. It's operable.
Oh, listen to
It
that.
works.
Listen to the donk.
You need that in your kitchen.
It's a great looking blender, and it's like any good amp. You need an on switch and a volume knob. The Smeg people, super minimalist, sleek design. It's got an on switch.
All right.
That's it.
What's
That's
the
all it's
suburb that we need to define by
right.
dish?
Okay, let's rattle through them. We've done plenty. We've travelled all over Adelaide so far. Elizabeth, Campbelltown, Glenelg, Burnside, Torrensville. Today, the compass takes us to Adelaide's northwest. I would say, even as a Crows fan, one of the most absolutely iconic and recognisable suburbs in this great town of ours, a place steeped in history, the old Port Adelaide tradition, as the song says, Port Adelaide.
Becoming a great food spot, by the way.
Well, yeah, it's got the low and slow barbecue. It's got the La Popular Taqueria. It's getting a bit trendy, but in its heart, Port Adelaide is the great no BS suburb of Adelaide. And as such, if Port Adelaide were a dish, it would be a beef pie with sauce and an iced coffee.
Okay, beef pie with sauce and an iced coffee.
Pie sauce, iced coffee. Thanks.
We want you to try and define Port Adelaide as a dish. 82230000. You can win yourself the Smeg blender. Building or renovating, your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg. While you think and call in with your suggestions of the dish that defines Port Adelaide.
I could be totally wrong. It could be a seafood dish. It could be a multicultural dish.
Anything you like.
Could be anything.
Time for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Hey, Steph.
Good morning, Premier. The Minister for Infrastructure and Transport, Energy and Mining, and the Leader of Government Business in the lower house is in the house.
You mean Turbo Tom's here to see me?
Yes, I put a little joke in there to brighten your day.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Steph.
You can go in. That was a good one, Stephanie.
Come in, Tom.
Hello, Premier Pete.
How you going?
Pretty good.
What's that for?
It's my trumpet.
I know what it is. What's it for?
Oh, well, I was thinking, you know how James Morrison, that fine Australian hornblower, is putting together a 90-piece brass band for the Christmas pageant.
Oh, no.
And he's asking for auditions from anybody who can play an instrument.
Can you play the trumpet?
Well, I can, if I...
So, no.
I've downloaded the music from the pageant website.
Can you read music?
Well, I can figure out. I can kind of...
So, no.
Well, he's written a jazzy version of Jingle Bells.
Oh, nice.
I think it's Jingle Bells.
Oh. Oh. So, how do you audition?
Well, you have to download the music like I have, and then video yourself playing your instrument, and then you upload it to YouTube, and he can watch it and then put you in the band. And I thought it might be a good promotion for the government if I win in it.
Really?
Yeah, to show that we're community-minded.
Why don't you just go in the pageant as a clown?
No, I want to...
Let people laugh at you.
Well, I won't...
Should be used to that. Sorry.
Now, if I give you my phone, can you video me playing this? And I can...
Yeah, I'm not sure if this...
Right, ready?
Yeah, go on. I can hardly wait.
Right.
Yes, Steph.
Premier, we have an emergency. We have to evacuate the building.
Really?
People have reported a fire alarm going off.
No, I think it might be just Tom.
Or a cat having its tail severed.
More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Tina's got a dish that defines Port Adelaide. Tina, good morning.
Good morning. I'm just going for the
basic barbecue, so sausage and bread with onions and sauce.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you,
good.
Tina.
That's
Nice
good.
and basic, keeping it simple. We'll take some more suggestions after 8 o'clock. Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club will join us in just a moment, and we'll take some more of your entries for that magnificent Smeg blender that'll sharpen up your house in no time.
The mid-year event is on at Solitaire Maserati. With the Levante SUV available for immediate delivery, now is the time to own one of the world's most desired luxury performance.
They'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A woman was found with head injuries at Elizabeth Grove last night, but Kendall Brettig reports it's a mystery what happened.
Just before 8 p.m, police and emergency crews were called to Sampson Road after reports a 59-year-old woman was found lying on the road with serious head injuries. She was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital in a critical condition. It's unclear how her injuries occurred. Anyone who saw or heard anything suspicious or has any information is asked to contact police.
A car went up in flames at North Plympton early this morning. The blaze broke out in a front yard in Aldchurch Avenue. Fire crews stopped it spreading to the house. It's unclear how it started. There's no sign of relief for renters in Adelaide. New figures from Domain show house rentals have increased by 4.3% in the last quarter to a new record high of $480 per week. Units have also increased by 2.7% to $380. Domain's Dr Nicola Powell says a number of factors are at play.
An escalation of purchasing prices, and what that has done is locked people in the rental market for longer. We may even be seeing some landlords passing on the additional home loan costs. But I think particularly for Adelaide, what we've seen is a steady stream of interstate movers and returning expats into South Australia.
There's a warning small businesses will struggle even more if the Reserve Bank moves again on interest rates. The RBA has increased the official cash rate twice in 2 months in response to soaring inflation. The National Retail Association's Dominique Lamb says discretionary spending is already falling and the Reserve needs to wait before moving again.
Choosing to buy less coffees, for instance, or they're choosing to engage less with those small businesses on their way to and from work because at the end of the day, they're trying to get their families through, and this is just something that is going to continue happening.
A humanitarian visa program for displaced Ukrainians will be extended until at least the end of the month. Australia has been offering temporary visas since late February. Close to 9,000 have been granted so far. A potential breakthrough in the fight against some blood cancers. A new discovery has been made which could improve the effectiveness of immunotherapy. Researcher Mika Casey says it's promising for leukemia and myeloma patients.
There's 53 Australians that are diagnosed with blood cancer every day. It's a very difficult cancer to treat, and we believe that this immunotherapy could help them have a better quality of life.
The field is narrowing in the race to become the next British Prime Minister. Carrie-Anne Greenbank is in London.
The door to number 10 Downing Street is yet to close behind Boris Johnson, but the race to replace him as Prime Minister is well underway. 8 contenders whittled down to 6 in the first ballot of Tory MPs. Chancellor Nadhim Zahawi and Jeremy Hunt knocked out. Rishi Sunak remains the front-runner with 88 votes, well ahead of the others. And Foreign Secretary Liz Truss currently has 50 votes as we head into another ballot tomorrow.
Britney Spears has caused a major traffic hassle on an LA freeway. The singer ran out of petrol and her Mercedes stalled, blocking several lanes. She called the LAPD, who moved the car safely off the road. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide will be without ruckman Scott Lycett for this Sunday's clash against Melbourne, with the ruckman ruled out of the match after a setback with his shoulder. He's set to miss 2 to 3 weeks. The Power will announce a squad tonight ahead of their clash against the D's, while the Crows will name their side to tackle Collingwood on Saturday. Well, Queensland has claimed the State of Origin series 2-1 over New South Wales after a thrilling 22 to 12-point win at Suncorp Stadium. The Maroons were big outsiders heading into the match, with COVID causing chaos, while they lost players early in the match itself after head knocks, but they somehow found a way to get it done. Blues halfback Nathan Cleary says he's shattered by the result.
It was pretty disappointing. Obviously we came up here knowing that Queensland would be tough, and we just didn't combat it well enough in that second half, and it sucks, but just got to take it.
Audio thanks to Nine. Well, scheduling clashes have forced South Africa to withdraw from the one-day international series against Australia in January. 11 Aussies will be teeing off later today as the Open Championship gets underway at St Andrews in Scotland. Rory McIlroy is the favourite, while Cam Smith is considered the best of the Aussie hopes. James Duckworth through to the quarterfinals of the Hall of Fame Championships in the US, but Max Purcell was knocked out by Andy Murray in 3 sets, while Jason Kubler is currently on court against number 1 seed Felix Auger-Aliassime. Daniel Ricciardo has taken to social media declaring his commitment to McLaren. That's amid rumours fellow Australian Oscar Piastri could be joining the Formula One team next year. And Renee Taylor has scored 2 goals and a Player of the Match award in the Hockeyroos 2-0 win over Spain. That's in the Women's World Cup quarterfinals. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. At Sturt, change traffic conditions there. Mowrin Road at South Road with New Ashville going down last night. Speeds reduced and no lines marked. And Aldinga, various works happening on Main South Road near Little Road. It's affecting both directions. Pretty slow going for the drive in at the moment. Cameras Anzac Highway, Glenelg East and Commercial Road at Seaford Meadows. Order a selected Audi by August 31 and receive complimentary 5 years, 75,000 kilometres scheduled servicing at your preferred Audi dealer. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast, partly cloudy for your Thursday, 15. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 15. Showers developing Saturday, also 15 degrees. Right now it's 8. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
7 minutes after 8, giving away a Smeg blender over the course of the next 52 odd minutes. You need to tell us the dish that defines Port Adelaide. I'm not sure you'll win it if you are unkind. We're getting some unkind entries.
Let's keep it nice. I like this one actually. This is a great one, and this is a good Port Adelaide up yours one. I don't know who the listener is because they didn't leave their name, but on the Automasters text line. G'day, boys. The traditional Port Adelaide dish is flat beer from the Thomas Seymour Hill Trophy. It's sustained us for many generations.
Oh, that's a good entry.
It certainly has at the SANFL level, hasn't it?
That's a good entry. 82230000. We'll be giving it away shortly. Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club is not too far away either. And we will get to all that right after breaking it 8.
Now, this is a big story. It's a big national story, which is why it's on the front page of The Australian today. Drumroll, please. The new head of the powerful Construction, Forestry, Mining and Energy Union, the Construction Union, the CFMEU, in our state of South Australia is none other than John Setka. John Setka, of course, is the Firebrand Victorian State Secretary of the CFMEU, who's become a notorious figure in politics in Australia. Anthony Albanese sought to have him expelled from the party in 2019 after he allegedly denigrated the domestic violence campaigner Rosie Batty. Mr. Setka's denied those allegations. He's become a flashpoint for a lot of industrial conflicts and also a bit of an embarrassment for the ALP with the links that the union has historically had to Labor. Well, for the last 5 years, and spent a lot of time writing about this for the papers. He has had his sights set on the SA branch. He was instrumental in the sidelining of the moderate and well-regarded former State Secretary here, Aaron Cartledge. And really, the head of the union that I spoke to yesterday, Dave Noonan, denies that it's a takeover. He says it's a 2 to 3 year management thing where the Victorians are going to run the state branch. The big concern, though, is for local builders, because there's already some evidence that, and this is one of the reasons why it's got so many members in Victoria, because Setka is such a hard ass, not to put too fine a point on it, the union has done an extremely good job, often through nothing other than sheer menace, in getting big construction companies to just fold and sign on for extraordinarily generous enterprise agreements. And there's evidence that that's already happening here. There's one that the big company Built has signed on 2 projects in the city at the moment that give all sorts of benefits to construction workers that have never been seen before in South Australia. Things like a guaranteed RDO every fortnight. So you do a 9-day fortnight. Things that don't exist in any enterprise agreements at the moment in South Australia. And the big fear is, what's it going to mean for subcontractors at a time when the cost of building is already off the charts? Price of steel, all of that. The inability to get certain products in due to war in Ukraine and so forth. So at the moment, people I've spoken to, like the NBA, have said we hope we can keep relations nice with the union locally, but given Mr. Setka's history, there's more than a degree of consternation about the fact that he is now locally running the show.
All right, let's get back to giving away this magnificent Smeg blender. Building or renovating, your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg. Matt in Largs Bay, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Yeah, look, I'm a Largs Bay boy, and Largs Pier was a regular haunt of mine. But I used to drink a fair bit in the port, like the Portland Hotel or the Lighthouse or the Birkenhead, and those pubs were great because as a tradie, you could go in there with your dirty clothes on and your steel caps and get served. Where you can't really do that anymore because they turn you away because you're a bit of a ruffian. But a mixed grill with a pint of West End draft always went down the treat. Plus maybe a lamb's fry if they had it on the special menu.
Yes.
Oh, excellent
Thank
entry,
you, Matt. Let's go to old Ranella. Quentin, good morning.
G'day, fellas. Hey, I reckon when you go down the port, you have 4 dim sims, tomato sauce, and a can of West End draft. But the dim sims you don't get from an Asian restaurant, you get them from any number of the takeaway shops.
Or the survey, they've been sitting there for weeks.
Absolutely.
That's when they're at their best, when they need to crust up a bit, don't they, Quentin?
Yeah, exactly right. But, it's good to grab that. It's a great spot.
Thank you, Quentin.
Lovely entry.
Here's the man we've all been waiting for, our Alberton correspondent, Dave Lloyd. Dave?
Yeah, just on the dim sims, I was always going to open a truck stop and call it the Dodgy Dim Sim, see how you went. But it's a fisherman's basket at the Birkenhead Tavern.
That's a good one.
Fisherman's basket, Birkenhead.
Great pub.
Good spot.
Cracking pub. Great view.
Sam in Clearview, good morning.
Boys, great morning. Used to do deliveries down the Portway, and for a great company, it was called FIVEaa. And yeah, the nice port run. We used to go there.
I think your phone's letting you down a little bit there, Sam. We might try and give you a call back and get to you very shortly.
I like this one. The dish of the port is the Port Mall chicken sticks. What is a chicken stick? Apparently they're great. The person who's entered says, I've got so many people addicted to them from sharing the love around. Carly from Largs says, I live at Largs, so I'm very well educated and want to see around the port. The correct answer is pizza on a long neck. Why not?
These all sound like fun, these entries, so we're going to get to some more in a moment. 8223 0000 is the number. You can text us as well on the Automasters text line. In the meantime, we'll check traffic. There's still time to join Samri's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samribright.org.au.
Thanks, Will. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. At Stoke, we've got changed traffic conditions this morning. Marion Road at South Road. New asphalt went down last night, so speeds are reduced and there's no lines marked at the moment. At Aldinga, you'll find various works happening on Main South Road near Little Road. That's slowing things up for the driving today. And we've got cameras Anzac Highway, Glenelg East, and Tapley's Hill Road at Glenelg North. The King Winter Sale ends soon. Up to 50% off selected Australian design award-winning furniture. Sale ends soon. Visit the King Keswick showroom today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
Scotty Lycett's been ruled out of all football this week, so not SANFL or the AFL. He needs to see his surgeon. Could have an infection in that shoulder. Now, that's not good.
That's bad.
That can only mean one thing. He's out for some period of time, or he might have to go in and have it looked at. That's not ideal for old Scoot.
4 p.m. weekdays.
Scoot back as their number one ruckman with Charlie Dixon, who we talked to on Friday, as the backup. I like the look and smell of that.
Rowie Sports Show on 5AA.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Here's why. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide today for a better future for all of us.
How special it is to think that right now we are revolving around a golden sun, perpetually spinning on the same rock as a stylish front-load washing machine for only $499. With roomy 10-kilo capacity and 16 wash programs including My Cycle memory function, it's special. You can buy only at Aldi Special Buys Laundry Sale this Saturday while stocks last at Aldi. Good, different.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
16 minutes after 8. Live in the studio, thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest Australian-owned PC manufacturer based right here in Adelaide.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Exchanging stories of toughness this morning. The dude talking about his busted fingers and things strapped up and bent the wrong way. And the other day, David hand-wrote a letter. His hand was really sore afterwards. It was a fantastic exchange.
One for one, same thing.
The reason we got onto it though, Tom, is I was saying every time you come in when we shake hands, I'm always now nervous because most times I've gone to shake your hand this year, it's been taped up or one of your fingers been pointing the wrong way.
Yeah, correct. They're just they're still looking pretty ugly, to be honest, but I don't have to tape them up off the field, which is great.
My big fear, though, is that I'm going to hit my footy app on Thursday to see who the ins and outs are, and it's going to say, do-day out, brackets, radio appearance.
Broken hand and then dash Pembo.
Yeah, crushing handshake from David Penberthy.
I don't think that'll be associated with you, Pembo. I think you'll be all right.
How's Darcy Fogarty's finger look at the moment? Because that was ugly when that
I haven't
happened.
actually seen that.
Oh, the vision is... I mean, it was described by the club as a compound dislocation, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Yeah, I spoke about it. I think Rennie asked about it last week,
Yep.
but it was it basically got to the point where on the bench people were like walking away, like turning away
Oh, no.
because they couldn't look at it. Like Smithers is pretty squeamish that stuff, but he's not great. But he said he couldn't actually look at the finger, so yeah, it was pretty bad. So a little bit better than mine, a little bit worse than mine. Sorry, mine aren't anywhere near as bad as it.
Do you reckon, as someone who's out there putting your body on the line every weekend, do you think that the TV should not actually do like close-ups of stuff like that and just cut away from it? Because
I love it. But I'm pretty weird like that, to be honest. I love injuries and stuff. Even though I've had my my fair share of them, I love seeing like the compounds and the dislocations and stuff like that. I'm a bit bizarre. I blame that on my oldest brother Harley. He introduced me to like the Saw movies when I was like I was like 7 or 8.
Okay.
So I've sort of got like a taste for it, which is pretty sinister, really.
With that awful one a couple of weeks back with the young fella from Gold Coast, who I remember in the moment, the TVs actually didn't show.
I think the best result is to not show it because of that. Like majority of no one wants to see it, especially. And then the thing you got to think about is the friends and family watching it.
Yeah,
like
totally.
That's where you don't. Because I remember in the NFL, Dak Prescott dislocated his ankle, and Tony Romo, the commentator, thought it was just a cramp. Like he just misread it, and they showed it like 3 or 4 times before they realised that his ankle was actually out the wrong way and like dangling. And I'm just imagining his family watching that at home. Like you just couldn't stand it, would you?
No, that's brutal.
Unbearable.
Hey, have you taken Mark of the Year?
Oh, I'm embarrassed by that. So
You've been nominated for Mark of the Year.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie. On game day, I thought my head was near the roof. I thought I'd taken a blinder. And then I got home and then saw I got nominated and clicked on the link to watch it. And I was like, oh, my God. That's embarrassing that I even got nominated. I told my my family and friends, like, don't share it. Don't vote. I don't want to win this thing. I don't want to win the
You're
league.
running dead. You win a card, don't you?
Oh, no. I think this year's you win like a year's supply of 4 and 20 pies and a pie warmer.
What's that for a professional footballer? 2 pies?
Yeah, I was going to say, what's second prize?
0 for me. I don't like pies.
Pasty warmer.
Pasty. No, what's the floating pie or pie float or whatever it was we talked about a few weeks back? Yeah. But no, definitely felt better on the day, that Mark. We don't talk about that anymore.
Don't sell yourself short, mate.
I honestly thought I got genuine sit, and then I watched it, and it was like I didn't even jump.
Simple chest mark.
Yeah, it's just on the wing. I just intercepted the mark and kicked it.
It was better than that.
I appreciate that. Maybe I'm underselling, so you guys pump me up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
100%.
Oh, we're ready to lead your campaign.
It's been a while. I've missed you for 2 weeks. I needed that pump up.
Hey, we are the key protagonists on the campaign for Dude for Captain, of course. So we're going to use this opportunity to have an urgently convened meeting. Do we need dirt on Jordan Dawson? Do we need to run? I mean, he's a late contender.
Run a campaign against him.
He's come in late.
He's the Greens Party family.
Exactly right. He's a teal. What do we need to do?
Ask yourself the question, can you trust Jordan Dawson?
I mean, he's only come. How much do we know about him?
What's
he's so new on the scene.
It won't be easy under Albanese or whatever.
That's
right.
right.
Yeah, we find something like that. No, my captaincy stint's probably over now. I've had my four games done. Went 2-2 on the coin toss, which I thought was all right. Went tails the first 2 weeks. Was tails. Viney went tails against Melbourne. He got it. So the 4th week, I was like, it has to be tails. Of course, it was heads. What did I win? 1 game. So not a great run, really. 2-2 in the coin tosses.
Was that the West Coast game?
Yeah. No, North.
North, that's right.
Down in Hobart.
How many wins have there been this season? 5?
I don't know.
I think you'd be responsible for 20% of the victories coming to your stewardship.
Solely as well, single-handedly.
Exactly right.
It's pretty much all my rev-up speech got us over the line against North. Nothing to do with talent disparity or anything like that.
I remember the cutting to you in the broadcast for the rev-up speech. How much thought do you put into it when it is suddenly your responsibility to the little chat you have beforehand, or is it all just in the moment?
Yeah, a little bit, because you want to get it right. That's the main thing is you don't, like, I think different people respond to it. You've got something like Nick Murray gets really up and about, so you want to like get a bit of passion about it. Then you got others that are pretty low key like me that would like I'm happy just to more chat through what we need to do in the game. But you don't want it. The worst thing you could do is get it wrong and stumble and not know what you're going to say, and then it just ends up like blabbering out, and no one gets actual motivated from it. So yeah, there's a bit of thought goes into it, but the main thing is reiterating what we want to do as a team, whether it's forward half footy or focus on our defence or win the contest, like whatever our focus is for that game, you want to reiterate that.
Tom, do you ever? As you know, I'm a bit of a fair weather fan. I don't have intimate knowledge of the game, not like my colleague Will here, and I sort of jump on and off the bandwagon. But it feels to me like in the last week, all the real rusted on train spotter, big footy fans have gone full nuclear about Crows in crisis. And there's some Twitter thread that it's like 15 posts this bloke's written, and he's tagged us in it. And it's everything about selection, and it's about the history of draft picks and Rashuto's role, and maybe now we get Nobes back. Do you pay attention to these people who probably spend more time thinking about football than they do about any other aspect of their lives? Because it feels like now, because there's a lot of them, they do seem to be sort of up and about where we're at.
Short answer is no. except for you two. I pay attention to you two. Nah, but it's one of those ones we've spoken about. I think I might have spoken about it here, but the external noise is getting louder and louder just because of the world that we're living in with socials and whatnot, and it's very hard to avoid it, especially with the amount our players are on social media, and the headline world that we live in. But there's so much more that goes on internally, and that's all we want our players to focus on. So that sort of stuff's out there, and it's prevalent, and whether it be a headline on the bottom of the news, roll the dial, whatever it's called. But you just got to try to avoid that because we've got so much going on inside that we know we need to work on, and then the external stuff's just not going to help that at all.
Actually, some of that was some pretty recent debate around the big picture questions at the club. The thing that I reckon would disappoint you most, dude, last weekend was probably in almost Nixie's entire tenure. Watching that game was the first time I thought the Crows have been beaten contested footy today, and the tackling pressure hasn't been as good. That, whether you guys have played well, and there's been question marks around whether too much has been prioritised around the defensive side of the game and not around the skill side of the game, and all that big picture stuff's great. But the thing that's never happened, I think actually happened for the first quarter at very least on the weekend, where I thought blokes are missing tackles. The Crows' intensity that's been a feature of what you do didn't feel like it was there. Did you feel that in the moment? And do you have a sense looking back on how that situation developed?
Yeah, well, we've obviously reviewed it. We felt it in the moment, in the sense of more just the cleanliness. We felt like we were fumbling the ball a lot. There was a couple where I was I'd spent it before I actually grabbed it, sort of thing, rather than take the ball, drive, and then try and figure out what I can do with it. But in the game, I didn't think we were down as many points as we were. When I looked at quarter time, I went, oh, crap, we're actually in a bit of strife here. But I'm not sure exactly what it was in terms of the lack of contest. We had a pretty clear emphasis on the way they played. We wanted to focus on our team D, get the ball forward, cover their outlets, keep them in their back half. We knew that they were going to try and zing the ball through and get it deep, and we just couldn't seem to. And I think a lot of that stemmed off the fact that we couldn't win the contest. And if you take away that first quarter, we pretty much win that game from quarter 2 to 4. We just didn't come out and show up, and we did nothing different throughout the week. We had a great week on the track. We travelled at our usual time, all that sort of stuff. I'm not sure. Something just didn't go right.
One of the big picture things that I think a lot of fans, we've spoken about this before, this is not news to you, is talking about experimenting in the back part of the year and trying different things. And I think we saw some evidence of that in the game on the weekend. And there's clearly going to be some different guys tried some changes to the team and whatnot. Do you sit there and go, can you just let us... As a player that's well established, you're going to be in the team every single week. Do you sit there and think, can we just try and get this one thing right? Can you give us another 6 games because we're going to get there? Because I know your belief is unshakable. Or do you sort of think, actually, you know what? I'm open to that. I'm open to this idea of let's have a different look at either different people or different roles, different approaches.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because from a competitor playing point of view, you just want to win games. So it's put the best team out there every week, the best 22 that can allow me to win a game, because when I lose games, I don't sleep. I'm angry for the week. When I win games, I'm a happy human. Versus the long-term plan of the Adelaide Football Club, which is if we get games in the young blokes, that's going to help us down the road. That's why you sort of have to have that separation of you don't let players make all the decisions, because otherwise all our best mates will be playing and all the players that are going to help us win right now will, but it's not going to help us in the future. So it's a balance to be found there, and I don't get paid to find that balance. I get paid to kick a Sharon around and take
mark of the year.
Poor marks that people think might be mark of the year. But
I want to come around for pie night, mate. Don't talk yourself out of the contest.
The lowest key mark of the year campaign in history you're now responsible for.
Well, hang on, maybe. We talked about the campaign captaincy, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What if I've just gone super low key and everyone's gone, he can't be that bad, can it? And they've gone on to check the mark and then they vote for me and then I get the win for the week anyway.
That would be tactically...
I've reverse psychology the entire audience.
Tactical brilliance. Or you get the irony vote. People go, that'd be funny. As if the dude's mark wins mark of the year.
It was that crap that it'll win it, yeah.
Like when that really boring comedian from the ABC won the gold logie.
Yeah, that's...
David Penberthy. Wasn't him, was it?
No, I wasn't even nominated, mate. I don't win awards.
Lots of texts coming in saying people love you, dude. So
we do.
Whether you win mark of the year or not, I think you've still got plenty of support out there.
I appreciate
Good luck
that.
on the weekend. It does. God, geez, it sucks when you can't. You're feeling a must-win game. You play against the champion of the game's 350th. The other side's got sort of the emotional impetus.
Well, we actually, and Hawthorn said the same thing to us. I was talking to Blake Hardwick after the game, and he goes, "Yeah, you guys got us at a bad time. We were wound up all week, and so the first quarter they come out hot, and it was like There's not only so much preparation you can do for that.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's right.
It'll be the same this week, but hey, we've got to prove it because we didn't last week, and we're a better team than what we showed. So
Yep. Good
gives the
stuff, dude.
opportunity.
Good
on you, Tom.
mate. Thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest Australian-owned PC manufacturer based right here in Adelaide.
Centennial Park empowers you with information to help choose how you'll be remembered. Decisions are difficult in times of loss. Pre-planning provides clarity and peace of mind for you and your loved ones. Meaningful funeral services reflect a life lived in beautiful spaces, with modern function rooms and quality catering also on offer. Burials, cremations and memorials are tailored to celebrate your life. We help you understand your choices. Choose how you'll be remembered with Centennial Park.
The mid-year event is on at Solitaire Maserati. With the Levante SUV available for immediate delivery, now is the time to own one of the world's most desired luxury performance brands. Book a test drive at solitairemaserati.com.au. DL 65541.
Now, here's some great news. They're stripping back prices at the other hardware store. That's right, your local Mitre 10. They've got everything to get you sorted this winter.
Like a buy-right 20-rail clothes era for just $16.
They're
and
good.
a round fire pit for just $89, including spark guard mesh lid and lid lift tongs.
I got one of those buy-right clothes eras. I got it at Mitre 10 there on Only Road. They've got all the gear to get the fire going too, like Ember Firelighters, 36-pack for just $6, and best burning 15-kilogram firewood and 10 kilograms of kindling, any two for just $30.
Your local Mitre 10 has everything to keep you warm and cosy through winter.
That's right. Plus, check out their catalogue with heaps of other great specials on sale now at the other hardware store. That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10.
You want to shut out the wind and rain in winter, or the sun, flies and mozzies in summer, but you don't want to sacrifice your view? Then you need Phantom Screens. For protection from sun, wind and rain all year round, Phantom's SA-made outdoor motorised blinds can span up to 12 metres wide. They offer effortless automation, a blind that's there 1 minute and gone the next. From the hills to the coast and everywhere in between, choose Phantom Screens. Get inspired online at phantomscreens.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 15 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
A fire sparked at a unit in Everard Park this morning. Nicole Ely from the MFS says they were called to Norman Terrace.
At about 6:20am this morning, 14 MFS firefighters from 3 appliances responded to reports of smoke at a unit block. On arrival, MFS crews found a small fire in one unit that was quickly brought under control and extinguished.
Damage has been put at $10,000. Investigations are continuing and no one has been hurt. A woman has been found lying on the road with head injuries in the northern suburbs. She was discovered on Sampson Road at Elizabeth Grove just before 8 last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says they're trying to work out what happened to the 59-year-old.
She was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital in a critical condition, but it's unknown how the woman's injuries occurred. So police are appealing for anyone who may have seen or heard suspicious activity or a disturbance in the area in the half an hour to an hour beforehand. Please call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
With the Royal Show returning this year, the state's largest COVID vaccination clinic is closing its doors this afternoon. The Wayville Clinic is being replaced by a new hub in the Maya Centre in the city. South Australians are being encouraged to keep rolling up their sleeves, whether it be for a third or fourth dose of a COVID vaccine. We recorded just over 4,400 COVID infections yesterday and 2 more deaths. Modelling suggests daily case numbers will peak at 6,000 early next week. Rental prices in Adelaide continue to rise, with new figures showing they've reached record highs. Domain's quarterly report reveals weekly median rents for both houses and units have jumped to $480 and $380 per week respectively. Domain's Dr Nicola Powell says there's little relief in sight.
What we're expecting is rents will continue to rise because the vacancy rate does remain very low. It's still stubbornly close to the recent record low of vacancy rate. So it does indicate that it's still a very tight rental market. It's very much a landlord's market and there are lots of grounds for landlords to continue to increase those rents.
The US President has reaffirmed his support for a two-state solution for Israelis and Palestinians. Joe Biden has visited Tel Aviv at the start of his first Middle East tour as president. He'll hold high-level talks with officials.
We'll discuss my continued support, even though I know it's not in the near term a two-state solution. That remains, in my view, the best way to ensure the future of equal measure of freedom, prosperity and democracy for Israelis and Palestinians alike.
The Adelaide Central Market is celebrating French food and culture to mark Bastille Day. There'll be live music and roving entertainers, cooking demonstrations and tastings, and free activities for the kids. And the market's Jodie Kinane says there'll be plenty of French food.
We've got a whole huge program for the next 3 days lined up. We've got an abundance of locally made French-inspired produce, and that includes pastries, baguettes, cheeses, truffle, charcuterie. So all the things that you know and love about France, our traders are delivering over the next couple of days.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide will name its side tonight ahead of Saturday's clash against Collingwood at home. The Crows are under pressure to respond after a disappointing performance against Hawthorn. Defender Tom Doedee telling David and Will he and others in the team are aware of the criticism, but they do their best to block it out.
The external noise is getting louder and louder just because of the world that we're living in with socials and whatnot, and it's very hard to avoid it, especially with the amount our players are on social media, and the headline world that we live in. But there's so much more that goes on internally, and that's all we want our players to focus on. So that sort of stuff's out there, and it's prevalent.
Australian Cameron Smith says he feels primed to make an assault on this year's Open Championship, which starts at St Andrews in Scotland this afternoon, our time. Smith is considered a red-hot chance to become the first Aussie to win the major since Greg Norman in 1993. And he told reporters his game feels in top shape.
I think I've played the best golf of my life this year for sure. I love the golf course. It'd be awesome to win an Open here for sure. I think it's everyone's dream growing up to win an Open at St Andrews. So yeah, don't want to jinx myself, but I'm feeling pretty good.
That's enough for me. Good stuff. And Manchester United has trained in Melbourne ahead of tomorrow night's pre-season friendly against the Victory at the MCG. Meantime, in the Women's Euro Championships, wins for the Netherlands and Sweden. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
At Sturd, look out for changed traffic conditions this morning. That's Marion Road at South Road. New Asphalt went down last night, so no lines marked and speeds reduced. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. At Aldinga, various works happening on Main South Road near Little Road, making it slow going for the driving today. Busy South Road at Mile End with a camera, Military Road at Westlake Shore. The Adelaide Central Market you know and love is open as always. Shop Tuesday till Saturday with the best fresh local produce, cheap eats and essentials. Our market always. Adelaide Central Market. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast 15 and partly cloudy for your Thursday, partly cloudy tomorrow and 15, Saturday showers developing and also 15. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
23 minutes to 9 behind closed doors, not too far away. We'll award the winner of our excellent Smeg giveaway, the magnificent Smeg blender, live in the studio. Almost came to grief for the spillage scenario about 20 minutes ago. We're happy to report, though, it's come out unscathed. You can't break these things.
No, it's indestructible.
That'll be long after we've all passed.
Even if you drop a coffee cup on it, as I did.
We just had to road test it for you. That's what we do here. Yeah. Don't worry, you'll be getting a new one if you do win the competition. You need to tell us the dish that defines Port Adelaide. Lots of great suggestions coming through. It'll go to someone who calls. Call now on 8223 0000.
Well, yesterday in Breaking It Out, we talked about the continuing and harrowing story involving the disappearance and strongly suspected murder of Anna Jenkins in Penang, Malaysia, back in 2019. We're joined now in the studio by her son, Greg, who has been doing a remarkable job in honour of his late mum, going back and forth to Malaysia to try to get to the bottom of what happened with her. Greg, great to see you again, mate, and thanks so much for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
No, not at all. So Greg, you're halfway through the process. They've started this inquest up again. You were back there for it, were you not?
Yes.
And then they said the judge is going somewhere else. It's been delayed indefinitely, and now it's back on again next Monday.
Yes. Yeah. It's been an absolute farcical.
Yeah.
And it just adds to the theatrical of this this show that they're trying to put on, and I think this delaying tactic is quite common across Malaysia. But yeah, we were stunned when we heard that the coroner's getting sent away to another state midway through an inquest, and the coroner was due to leave 3 days before it started.
Because the work that you've done on the ground there, you've uncovered a whole bunch of shortcomings with the investigation. Do you suspect that there's almost a sense of perhaps embarrassment on the part of the Malaysian authorities about the way the whole thing's been handled, and they just sort of want it, and indeed probably also you, to go away?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and a few of the local police have stated that.
Yeah.
Who do you deal with? Who's your point of contact? Is there someone who case manages you, or how does it work?
So normally I look to my sister, and then so we've got a couple of contacts over there, mainly through media, through lawyers, and through people that we've met over the last 5 years that are really jumping on our bandwagon to push this along. But it's predominantly just me and my sister driving this.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the police officer who was in charge of the, to use a loose term, given the job that he did, the investigation into your mum's disappearance, he said some shocking things, didn't he?
Yes.
At the inquest, and you've lodged a separate complaint about some of the outrageous and slanderous claims that he made about your mother.
Yes.
What's the status of that, mate? Have you heard anything about that?
Nothing at all. Which they have to investigate it, so I'll be chasing that up. So I fly tomorrow, so I'll be chasing that up because, like you said, he made some extremely false accusations and some fairly damaging accusations, trying to discredit mum and dad. And like I've said before, like, they don't have a voice, and Malaysian police have been allowed. So the coroner allowed that to happen. So in response to that, I put in a police report for an investigation over 17 wild accusation claims.
Yeah. And have you had any response at all?
No. I got one phone call asking me to come in to the police station at, it was about 11:45 at night before I left on the last trip. And I said that's not going to happen. And then, try to organise another time, and that's all I've heard about it.
And so you're going back again, leaving tomorrow. How many times will you have been up there
now? This will nearly be 30.
Wow. Crikey.
Yeah.
How can you afford it? Like, it must just be a huge financial hit on you, mate.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah.
We scrounge around and we make it happen. But like, if we don't do it, then it doesn't get done. Unfortunately, when we can't rely on the Malaysian police. To do anything.
It's just about the most difficult time to have travelled in the last 70 years.
Yes.
As well. So, because I know getting even into Malaysia as Australian was problematic until fairly recently, wasn't it?
Yeah, correct. Yep. So there was so many foreign taxes that you had to pay, so many isolation periods, tests that you have to do. They wouldn't upload my Malaysian app that you have to use over there, which meant I couldn't even get a coffee, couldn't get food, couldn't get fuel because they wouldn't update my app.
Yeah. And are you, because you were born here in Australia, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Because your dad's an Aussie.
Yes.
And your mum had been here for a very long time.
Yes.
But so do you have dual citizenship or?
No.
Yeah, so that makes it even harder to get back up there.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Well, mate, look, whatever we can do to help here at 5AA, and also I know Brad Crouch has been doing a great job at the Tiser covering the case as well, and, I've done a couple of bits for the Australian as well to get it onto the national sort of media landscape, but we'll stay in touch with you because, your mum deserves justice and you're doing her memory proud with the job that you're doing, trying to get to the bottom of it all, mate.
Yeah, and thanks to you guys and also to all the listeners and support that we've had from everyone. And we're hoping that this is the final stage for this inquest, and the Malaysian police can pull their fingers out and actually come to a resolution, as opposed to just trying to stab false accusations.
Yeah, 100%. Good on you. Thanks for that,
Awesome.
Greg.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
All right, let's check on the fuel situation. See where the cheapest fuel is in an instant with the free FIVEaa app. You can download it today. The cheapest we've spotted around the place, the BP on the run, David Terrace, Woodville Park, $1.72.9. The Liberty South Road, Clarence Gardens, $1.78.3. The on the run, Green Hill Road, Linden Park, $1.70.9. The cheapest diesel, Silver's Auto Centre, Gilbert Street, Adelaide, $2.19.9. We'll check traffic, and when we come back, we'll take some more of your entries for the dish that defines Port Adelaide. Traffic, thanks to the Samri Bright Walk. And great news, there's still time for you to join the Samri Bright Walk for a brighter future at samribright.org.au.
Add stir, change traffic conditions there. Marion Road at South Road with New Asheville going down last night. Speeds reduced and currently no lines marked. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. And Aldinga, various works happening on Main South Road near Little Road. That's affecting both directions. Pretty slow going at the moment. Busy right now, South Road at Mile End, and we've got a camera trimmer parade at Seaton. A rare opportunity to sell advertising with a global media company based in Adelaide is now available. Don't miss out. Apply today at trafficnet.com.au/careers. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Cars. We love them. From the 4x4 that takes you off grid to the convertible sports model for long coastal drives, or your pride and joy that you love tinkering on every weekend. Whatever car you love, eBay has everything you need to look after it. With Australia's widest range of car parts and accessories, all at great eBay prices, you'll find any car part you need, no matter what you're looking for. Find it, buy it, fix it on eBay. Everyone's a winner.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Look, we get it. Nobody likes to wait, especially for a new car. That's why Wavell and Southern Mitsubishi would like to give you something cool to do in the meantime, like giving you a $50 gift voucher. Spend it any way you like while waiting for your new car to arrive. Take a test drive today for your $50 gift voucher. T's and C's apply. Only at Wavell and Southern Mitsubishi, driven by Australian Motors.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
14 to 9, behind closed doors, not too far away. Also, we're giving away our Smeg blender.
Thanks to Smeg. It's time for the dish that defines your suburb.
Yeah, the suburb in question this morning is Port Adelaide. Been great having Smeg on board for these Thursday mornings for a significant period of time now. They're great additions to any kitchen around Adelaide, be it the toaster or the kettle or the blender that we've been giving away. Today, you just need to define Port Adelaide by way of a dish. Les in Lockleys, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, boys?
Good, thanks, Les.
That's good. How about the good old-fashioned egg and bacon roll with a can of Coke, backed up with a custard tart?
That sounds good.
Backed up all right. Simo,
nice
good
recovery
morning.
breakfast. Hey, Simo.
Hello. Hey, morning, fellas. How you going?
Good, thanks, mate.
Good. Look, a long time ago, the wharfies used to knock off at 6 o'clock in the morning. I used to work at the Glampill Hotel in the front bar. And all the boys would all come in, they'd have a pint glass with a raw egg.
A pint glass with a raw egg.
Gut plus. No shit, I tell you. No shit, yeah.
Okay.
That'd wake you up. Oh, good protein.
Gee, you'd be looking forward to lunch, wouldn't you? Crikey. John, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good, mate.
Thanks, John.
Here we go. Crumb sweetbreads with mashed potato, pumpkin and beans, followed by bread and butter pudding.
Ooh, crumb sweetbreads. You never see them around anymore, do you?
No.
delicious.
Thank you, John. 8223 0088. If you've got a dish that defines Port Adelaide,
some of these dishes
they're all
have become
hearty, aren't
trendy.
they?
You'd only see crumb sweetbreads in like a sort of Michelin-starred restaurant
Yes,
these days.
definitely. But that's often, the trendy thing, isn't it?
It's like rabbit.
Reprising.
Rabbits are expensive now.
Yeah. Bringing back the the peasant food and making it fancy. That's sort of, the want of the modern fancy chef.
Keep them coming, folks.
8223 0080 or text us on the Automasters text line. We've managed to avoid all the really nasty ones, haven't we?
We have. Hey, we had a text earlier from one of our listeners asking about Neil Curley and when his state funeral is going to be. We checked. There's still no official date, but it is our understanding that there will be one, and that an announcement was made during the last fortnight when we were off when Neil Curley very sadly passed away. So the moment we do get the information from the government, we'll let you know. I just want to quickly say something too about another great South Australian who passed away while we were on leave. Bill Spur, taken far too young, 75. Such a great bloke, and one of those rare people who was so well regarded by people across politics. I saw everyone from Leon Bignell to Simon Birmingham paying tribute to him. But he was a great man. He did so much for tourism in SA. Had the pleasure of dining with him socially on many occasions, and just want to extend my thoughts to his wife Helen and their 2 kids and everyone who knew him, because he was a great man.
Tony in Croydon has called in with a dish that defines Port Adelaide. Morning to you, Tony.
Yeah, g'day, boys.
Hey, Tony, what's yours, mate?
Mate, mine's fish and chips. Port Adelaide being a working class suburb, there was a gazillion fish and chip shops, and Friday night we used to go down to the fish shop, bring it home and have fish and chips for tea.
That just even the word sounds like the port, doesn't it? Fish and chips. You can imagine sitting there on one of the wharves, unwrapping the paper. Eating them in situ makes them taste even better.
I've got this psychological, I think it's impediment, one of many, where the proximity to water is a large factor that dictates whether I'll order fish or some sort of fish and chip style meal. If I'm at Port Adelaide, yes. If we're in Catherine,
yeah,
and it's a seafaring fish, I'm sure it's fine. Okay, I'm sure it's fine.
Transport's pretty quick these days.
It is, but psychologically, I'll just go for some inland beast.
Well, people often say that about oysters. You never want to eat oysters when you're, in Wagga or Dubbo or something like that. You eat them when you're, down at Coffin Bay or something.
One of many, as I say. I've got all sorts of picadillos. Colin in Port Noarlunga, good morning.
Yeah, how you going there?
Good, thanks, mate.
I reckon a nice, thick, hearty stew with dumplings and a nice, big, fat piece of bread and dunk it in there.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Go for some of that right now, Colin. Let's go to Craigmore. Andrew, good morning.
G'day, guys. Think about it. Where are we? Port Adelaide, the sea. We've got the beautiful blue swimmer crab, a bit of crumb squid, some beautiful Wongalay mud cockles served with the brownest, crispest hot chips with sea salt, with a little bit of tartare sauce on the side and some lemon.
Yeah, you've
got mouth-watering there,
You've painted
mate.
a picture, Andrew, that's for sure.
I like this one from Meredith Tiller. All the entries have a common theme. No-nonsense food, hearty food to sustain you when you're working hard, because the port has been synonymous for more than 150 years now, almost what we were saying before. In 2036, it'll be 200 years since our fine colony was founded. But it's a hard-working part of town. Meredith Tiller in Balaclava says, meat and 3 veg, hot strong cup of tea, then a couple of long necks. Port Adelaide was the heart of hard work in SA. It was the hub of the grain and wool industry, and the wharf has been SA's lifeline.
Good on you, Meredith.
Thoughtful entry.
Ash makes the point that he's been to many footy games at Alberton and seen people eat lots of knuckle sandwiches. Stephen Kilkenny, good morning.
How you going, boys?
Good, thanks, mate.
I reckon mine's not a food. I reckon just a pint of beer. Stout, Coopers.
A liquid meal.
Yeah.
Liquid meal.
What's the saying? Eating's cheating.
7 to 9. We're going to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed,
FIVEaa Weekend Breakfast with Mike Keelan and Angie McBride.
Yes, here we are again, 5 minutes past 6. 6 minutes past, 5 minutes, 6 past is now. We are here. Good morning, Michael Keelan.
Right. Morning, Angie, and welcome back.
Thank you, Michael.
Did you have a good break?
I did.
Well, it's good to have you back, and welcome, everybody. This is the show where you really get your money's worth, isn't it?
What do you mean, Michael?
Well, you know, normally you have a couple of people on the air talking about a subject and discussing it, whereas with us, a lot of the time, you'll be talking about one thing and I'll be talking about something completely different at the same time.
Yes.
So really, you're getting two shows for the price of one.
Yes, like a nice discount at Woolworths.
That's right, or a free room at a hotel.
I did some shopping at Woolies yesterday.
Had a pretty good stay at a hotel recently.
And tried to use the new system at the self-serve checkout.
Nice room. I love room service. I ordered some chips.
Where
and I ate them while I was watching TV. It's great.
Code before your shopping.
Then I had a long snooze.
It just charges you and you can leave.
Woke up feeling refreshed.
But I got a bit confused with it.
Right. And what else is coming up on the show today?
Well, Michael, we'll be talking to someone in Japan.
Oh, right, yeah, about Shinzo Abe.
Yeah, Shinzo Abe. Yeah,
and will you be talking about that with a little bit too much happiness in your voice?
Yes, I will, because Shinzo Abe was assassinated and he died tragically. So we'll be talking to someone in Japan about that assassination coming up soon.
That was awful, that story.
Oh, John Blake. What's the saying? If you don't laugh, you cry. He was a great man. He was a great man. Sometimes you just can't help the tone of your voice, can you?
No, that's right.
Yes.
That's what
Exactly.
radio's about. Even to the very end, they never quite got the... They tried to fix the naming conventions in how Western media referred to people in Japan, because his name's actually Abe Shinzo.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And about 3 years ago, they tried to say, you know, we're going to be like China. Because say if you think Deng Xiaoping or if you think Kim Jong-un, the family name's first.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the same in Japan, but they, for so long, and I think part of their integration with the West, they just said, we'll just
switch it around.
We'll switch it around for Westerners to understand it at least. And they tried to change it the last few years, but unfortunately, in Abe's case, people didn't quite get the memo.
Now, we need to announce a winner for the SMEG, don't we?
That we do.
Should we do it right now?
Let's do it.
Thanks to SMEG, it's time for the dish that defines your suburb.
Now, look, we had a lot of brilliant entries. Very hard to narrow this one down. I thought, though, for the way he described the pub setting and talked about all the various pubs down there on the beautiful FIVEaa Peninsula, Matt painted such a beautiful picture, and he really got my mouth watering too. The idea of just a simple mixed grill with a pint of West End. Also threw in the, hopefully you'd find it on the specials board, the lamb's fry. But just great old-fashioned Aussie cooking. So, Matt, you are the winner of the excellent SMEG blender.
Fire it up.
Listen to that donk.
Have we now covered north, south? Have we covered all sort of directions?
I'll just do a quick recap.
Suburb-wise, north, south, east, and west. I think we have.
I reckon we've covered every corner of our fair city. We've done Elizabeth, which was bangers and mash. Campbelltown, which was pasta carbonara. Glenelg, in honour of our great friends at the barbecue in the Chivapchichi. Burnside was sous vide salmon in a champagne sauce. Torrensville was a Greek salad. Enfield was a vindaloo. And Port Adelaide, my suggestion was pie and sauce with an iced coffee. And we gave it to Matt with his mixed grill.
Now, you can come down and see us at the Adelaide Central Market tomorrow morning. We'll be broadcasting live. Love doing a market OB. And so tomorrow's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Bastille Day, we'll be wearing a beret and some sans culottes.
You know what will be happening, though? You might be you'll see a David in the wild, because you're going to be a bit of roaming David at the markets tomorrow morning.
I love that.
So you, a microphone, and you just left to your own devices.
Might go over to Vegas and pick up some of the best nuggets in the world, as the kids call them at home. They're great, those things.
That's going to be fun. That's
I can
tomorrow
eat
morning.
300 of those chicken nuggets.
Well, maybe you can do that during your roaming spot. That could be something to listen to.
I'm going to go and hit up the French cheese shop.
All right, you can do that.
Get some mimolette into me tomorrow night.
Leon, sometimes you just are a John Blake sketch. Leon Biner is coming up. We'll catch you for the markets tomorrow from 6.
Budget car and truck rental make life easy. Whether you need to move equipment, furniture, fresh produce or people, you'll find the widest variety of vehicles at competitive prices at Budget Car and Truck Rental. With 7 convenient locations across the metro area, plus regional locations, you'll find a budget near you. So if you're moving out or in, taking a load to the tip or going on a big trip, do it with Budget Car and Truck Rental. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
Taking care of your hearing health is so important, and it's that much easier with Audica. If you're over 26, get a free hearing check at one of the 350 clinics throughout Australia.